Good evening, race fans, and welcome into the Player1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship, brought to you by MotorMotion E-Series. Of course, Player1 Sim Gear, p1simgear.com.au are passionate about giving back and supporting the local flight and racing communities that make this hobby so rewarding for all of us. They'd love to know about who you race, farm or fly with, so get on over to their website and get yourself involved. And we'll talk more about the sim farmers, space pilots, sim truckers and sim racers the world over that enjoy their services. We are here, of course, as part of TrackSpot TV, bringing you all of the action. Round number 2 underway this evening. My name, of course, John Wright. I'll be joined by Andrew Scott for race number 1. Then it'll be George Cook and Nick Patasso in for race number 2. But do go over to TrackSpot TV, www.trackspot.tv. Professional grade immersion with graphics, overlays, commentary, multi-platform streaming, all the click of a mouse away. So if you are looking for broadcasts, get yourself over to TrackSpot TV and get yourself involved. We are very proud to be bringing you all of the action from this season. Monza already in the rear view mirror. Le Mans this evening. We've got Brands Hatch, Nürburgring, Spa, Interlagos, Watkins Glen, Daytona, Autopolis and Mount Parama. A plethora of incredible tracks to take in over the season, and yeah, an absolute pleasure to be here presiding this evening over Le Mans. It's just a couple of straights and a few chicanes. This is an easy course, surely. It's a 50-minute race that we've got this evening. All tyres are permitted, but racing hard tyres are mandatory. One full competitive lap must be completed on hard tyres. Did someone say foreshadowing? Tuning is prohibited and drivers will be allowed to... Tuning is prohibited, but drivers are allowed to, of course, adjust their brake bias. That definitely helps with the tyre wear when you get deep into a stint. And knowing what it's all about, getting deep into the stint, Andrew Scott will be joining me in just a moment or two. 22 degrees was out on track. 0 chance of precipitation. Sadness in the commentary box. 16% cloud cover, but a lot of wind, much like the commentary booth as well, because it does come flying out with a Scotsman, that's for sure. Also comes out Andrew Scott as well, who is joining me. Took part in the race himself, and I'm sure has some fabulous insights into what we're about to see. Good evening, Andrew. How are we this week?
G'day, John. G'day, viewers. I'm good, thanks. And always good, a pleasure, and sometimes an honour to be with you, mate. The guru at TrackSpot TV. Some say the Gandhi of TrackSpot TV. But yeah, this race can be best described as maybe a race engineer's worst nightmare. A lot of things at play here with fuel and tyres. That mandatory tyre, the long pit stop here at Le Mans is all going to play out now. So it's going to be like a bit of a game of chess. And as you mentioned before, such an easy track, this one. You don't have to worry about track limits around here, do you?
Absolute. Is there track limits at Le Mans? I didn't even know there was.
Yeah, and they've turned them on, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah, turn them up high. We'll see how the drivers get on tonight. He tries to say it with a straight face, but fails miserably. Of course, the drivers have done their qualifying laps, 15 of them. Setting times. I have a different set of names in front of me. No surprise. When I say a different set of names, sorry, we've got gamer tags and drivers' names, but no real surprise in the qualifying. The NSX is doing quite well. The 911 is doing not too bad, but it is the Nissan GT3 that has made its way to the top of the timing towers in qualifying. One Gopi Mahinjet. Is he any good? And the Nismo ahead of Lewis and Ando. Mr. Andrew Scott making an appearance in 3rd place there, not too bad. Nick Pfaff in 4th with Nick Patasso in 5th place. He'll be in for race number 2, so we'll get his thoughts on race number 2 when he's in with George Cook. Good mix of cars. Andrew, you're in the M6, an interesting choice. Not many of them in the competition. Give us a quick idea as to what inspired the madness behind that choice.
Yeah, the team I think it's one of their favourite cars, Hasel1 Motorsport. It's a pleasure for me to be racing for them this season, and I think that's their car of choice. Has suffered a bit in a couple of the most recent BOP updates, where it's only running 460 horsepower under BOP settings, so it struggles a little bit in top end, but it's not too bad, and it's just pretty epic with mid-corner grip and braking. So it's still a competitive car, and I'm actually enjoying driving it.
To get up to third place in qualifying is no mean feat, but that is qualifying. And as a very wise Scotsman, myself, once said, qualifying is vanity. It's race finishing position that is indeed sanity, and we're going to see if we're going to see some Lassard sanity this evening, as the drivers, I believe, are readying up and making their way down on to the grid to start this evening's 50-minute race for round number 2. And here we go then, just piling into the final few corners. A short, sharp shock to the system to get this one underway for the drivers. And there we go then, it is foot down, flat out, and flying into Dunlop, up through the Dunlop. Oh, chicanes it would go. Nice straight line, the drivers instantly falling in. Line astern, keeping it nice and neat. No early moves, of course. The track is quite cold and it is quite late at night, so they won't have the tyre temperature that they would be hoping for straight away. And a few of them already out on the hards, as we can see. The back end there, I believe that was McCallum stepping out absolutely wildly there. We're on board with Ando in the BMW. He's got a good view of the brake lights of Lewis and Mahinjit with Nick Pfaff and Nick Patauso. Oh, that's a bit of a battle there by Nick Pfaff, and it's a battle with the back of his car rather than another driver. Little Peugeot certainly giving his wrists a bit of a workout there as he wrestles his way through the first sector onto the long straight. We've got a couple of chicanes along here to make their way through. An interesting part of the track as we head the slipstream. That's Nick v Nick with McCallum and Stone. Close behind, Water Arrow down in 8th place, having a good start as well. The rest of the field look like they've got a pretty decent getaway. It looks like Nick Patauso is trying to get out with the slipstream and get past Nick Pfaff. Nothing doing into the first chicane. The top 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 all make their way through beautifully. It's a phenomenal start up here in the top group, as you would expect. Although Lewis and Mahinjit have swapped positions up at P1. Let's jump up onto P1 and have a look there. It looks like the slipstream has worked mightily well for Lewis. That is a phenomenal run that he has got on Gopey. And not only that, here comes one Andrew Scott right under the rear spoiler. This is an interesting point of the race, Andrew, and you must have been rubbing your hands together with glee to see Gopey that close to you this early on.
Yeah, although there's a very good reason for that, and that's because the two cars in front of me are on hards and I'm on medium. So I'm just starting to figure that out, and I'm just going to decide whether I work with someone or not. And I tell you what, that Supra, John, Lewis absolutely made mincemeat of Gopey in the first Mercedes straight there. He just absolutely cruised past him. So that Supra is absolutely OP in a straight line today down the straights. It's going to be very, very hard to compete with.
Is that a Supra? It certainly is, and it is out leading the way. As we can see, the hard versus medium tyres, a battle that is playing out on the second part of the straight, and then just behind them, a bit of a gap there, but it is the two Nicks that are still Pfaff, then Patauso. Ooh, Pataso's got himself a half-second penalty. Not what you need at any point in the race, definitely not what you want around Le Mans. A crucifyingly terrible penalty line on this lap, and that is that Nick Pfaff looking a bit close? No, it's not. It's Ando. Oh, he's thought about a move there. Couldn't quite pull one off. It's still Stone, McCallum and Water Arrow that are running 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. And that is Stone having a look up the inside. He's gone for a full send on Patauso, and he's got his nose in front. Beautifully done, but the Peugeot watches it all in the rear view mirrors. Patauso comes straight back. He's going to get slowed down for the penalty line, and that is going to put Stone and McCallum ahead. Here comes Water Arrow as well. We'll have a quick run down the grid and see what the rest of the field are up to as well at this point. We've got Water Arrow, Brucey in 9th, Airborne in 10th with Spark in 11. Motorsport 32 up 3 positions on the start from 15th place. Up to 12th, Johnson, Dibzetto and Scotty bringing up the rear of the field. They are a bit far behind, but it's not stopping the battle. And Johnson and Dibzetto having themselves a right little squabble there for 13th and 14th. And yes, Scotty not getting a great start. He's on the soft tyres, and the tyre choice at the start of this race, Andrew, all important, as we can see. Lewis comes straight into the pit. That is an early committal to a pit strategy in a long race, Andrew.
Yeah, he's committed to the two-stop now, so he's going to run soft tyres now for the rest of the race, I'd say, and he's going to have to watch his fuel. As we see, Mahindajit there inherits the lead and picks up a penalty, unfortunately, and not only unfortunate for him, unfortunate for me in second place, because I'm playing second fiddle here and I'm sitting in behind him, whereas I maybe should have tried to make a move and clear him being on the medium tyre there. But a couple of probably one-stoppers here at the start are now inheriting the lead, and let's see how the strategies play out.
Yeah, indeed, and the half-second penalty there for Mahindajit, that really is going to be a costly one. Hopefully. Not too costly, but it's going to be a long way before we find out, because we're going to have to see what Mahindajit now does on his tyres after the temporary race leader has come in. Ando in second, Stone still with that good move. He's got himself ahead of both Nicks now, so he's up into third. Faf and McCallum fourth and fifth. Patauso now separated again, so he is all running on the hard tyres. He's getting them out the way. And he's down in sixth position, so it has cost him a couple of spots that he's going to be looking to take back as soon as possible. But he has got his hard running out of the way so far. Water Arrow picking up a half-second penalty in the BMW. That's not a good start there. The penalty line here, Andrew, you were out there as well. We'll talk about the penalty line. The one at Spa is an absolute nightmare. The one here at Le Mans, it's not really that much better.
No, it's pretty bad. It's at the start of a long straight in the last sector. So if you pick up a half-second penalty around here, it's going to add over a second to your lap time, maybe 1.2, 1.3 seconds. So, that's not the worst track limit line, burn line, but it is definitely pretty penalising. And the problem with that is, John, that it is so easy to pick up a half-second penalty around this track with those penalty zones or the track limits at each of the Mersenne chicanes being basically imaginary lines. You've really got to know where they are, because they're at one point it's the white line and then it transitions to become the curb on exit. So you've got to know exactly where they are, those track limits, at all times.
Oh, and that's a big crash. That's number 36 in the background. That is a Porsche that has just come an absolute cropper and is about to lose 4 positions. Oh, that is Spark. Oh, and I tell you what, Spark's already been in the pits. Spark's been in the pits because that's the race leaders that have just gone past him. That is Gopi Mahindajit, that is yourself, Andrew Scott, and that is Stone going past. So Spark then, he's picked up, he's trying to go for an early pit stop, and he's had an absolute cracker of a collision with the barriers. The Armco insurance premiums will be up after that one. Speaking him up, there is Andrew Scott. He is up. He's got the medium tyres. He now needs to break away. He already knows what happens. So we'll try not get too many spoilers from him. But this is obviously an important phase of the race if he is going to manage himself a podium. He's got Stone behind him as well, who is using up his softs. Again, this works into the favour of not only Gopi, but Andrew as well. Given that the drivers chasing him are using up those soft tyres from third place and not able to take any advantage as we come to the end of lap number 2 very quickly indeed. It's Andrew Scott in the lead, Gopi Mahindajit in second, it's Stone in third with Nick Faf being followed by McCallum. Nick Patauso in 5th place. Water Arrow, despite the penalty, finds himself in 7th, with Brucey up to 8th place after a couple of drivers have committed to an early pit stop, and it is an early pit stop given that it is a 50-minute race, and again 1 full lap on hard tyres must be completed. Oh, and I tell you what, Andrew, I might have talked just a bit too soon there. I was saying that Stone was maybe losing the benefit of having the soft tyres. He sets himself the fastest lap of the race, and he has a very large Nissan badge lurking ahead of him at the moment.
Yeah, he's got to clear these two cars in front of him, actually, John, because he is on an absolute ball terror of a strategy. He looks to be on a two-stop now, and he's running the softs. He's in the OP car, and he's not worried about fuel like the two cars in front of him are. They are saving fuel hand over fist here because they need to try and get 7 laps out of a tank, because this race could go to 13 laps, John, and that means that if you're going to pull off a one-stop, you not only have to run the hards for a long time, you have to fuel save. So Luke Stone should be able to easily clear these two cars now and get on with his strategy. But if he doesn't, his strategy is dead in the water.
Yeah, it's the a law of diminishing returns. I believe it is. The longer he's behind these two. Yeah, I will stop my extrapolation because he's not behind the two. Oh, that is very generous from Stone. Very generous from Stone. I've got to be honest. If that was a me and an F4, I'd have gone full send there. But that's why I hide behind the microphone.
Very well behaved. But he was on the soft tyre. He could have had a lunge there, but he didn't. But look at this. The Supra now is just an absolute beast at this track. It just cruises past the M6 and inherits the lead of the race, and he's going to have to get on with it now to make his strategy work.
Yeah, he needs to make up some... It's almost like lost ground at this point. Given the fact that he spent about a lap behind, and he's still got those two cars very close. And of course, it doesn't do Andrew Scott, the man in the commentary box, many favours either when it now puts Gopi Mahinja once again firmly on his rear spoiler. As Stone is absolutely lighting up the timing towers, Mahinja is lighting up the rear spoiler of Andrew Scott. There in the background, you can see Faf, Pitauso and McCallum. Pitauso and McCallum have swapped positions again. So one of the Nicks retaking one of the positions, so those two running line astern once again. A little bit, whoa, a little bit of a stutter on the way into the corner, and that is Stone going full beans on the loud pedal on the way out as well. He needs to make the most of those soft tyres. He doesn't need to be running through them in a lap and a half just to get a bit of a gap. And Mahinja hit. He has picked up another penalty. This is not the type of consistency. I know they say consistency wins your races, but picking up a penalty at the same point lap after lap, not really the type of thing. Although he's maybe just doing it for fun to try and nerf himself slightly after taking pole position by 9/10 of a second. The absolute alien. Ridiculous lap time to be saying. He's going to be slowed down by half a second here. Going to give Ando a bit of a breakaway. The two next, 4th and 5th. Still with McCallum. We'll have a run down the order as well because Motorsport 32 is up to 7th place from 15th. So going for a slightly longer strategy at the start, but picking up some good early paces as Pitauso is still generously handing out slipstream to McCallum behind them. McCallum looking to retake those two spots. There is Motorsport 32 serving a penalty there as Brucey back up to 7th place. They are trading penalties rather than trading paint this round. I'm sure they'd rather be trading paint. It's a lot more fun than getting slowed down at those penalty lines, that for sure. But Motorsport still up 7 places, and just behind them, Airborne and Scotty. Scotty was a bit down the field. And this one is looking very lively indeed. Airborne leading the way. He's on the medium tyre. We'll see Scotty is on the softs, and he's about halfway through his front left already in water arrow. Carrying damage and on the medium. HC Lewis, who led the way from the start, he finds himself right down at the back of the field after that early pit stop. Behind Dubzetto in the Honda. That must be an absolute animal to drive around here. There is Lewis. He's come out on the soft tyre, so he is fully committed to that strategy. Spark with a bit more damage as well. But he is ahead of Johnson, the street to track driver. Oh ho ho! Lewis sets the fastest lap of the race now that he's out on the soft tyres. Andrew, so he is not only committed to this strategy, he is committed to making it work, and he is lighting the track purple just now.
Yeah, that's very telling there. Lewis is going to have to keep that up if he wants to make this strategy work. And yeah, that's exactly what he needs to do. He's got clean air, he's got soft tyres and plenty of fuel, and he is going to be doing 11, maybe 12 quali laps like that to finish off this race and make the strategy work, because it's a long pit stop around here, John. So it's going to be of the order of 29 seconds, that extra pit stop he's going to do compared to the two effective leaders of this race. So he's going to have to really, really light up that timing totem pole for the rest of this race.
Yeah, he absolutely is, and he might just be in the place to do it, although lack of slipstream along these straights could catch him out if he gets left to his own devices. Scotty having himself an incredible little battle with Airborne, and he too doing well. Sorry, with Water Arrow as well, just behind them. Water Arrow with a penalty served, and I think it's been more than one. Has dropped him down ever so slightly. Airborne just ahead, and Scotty is absolutely flying in his Nissan. He's got himself a full pull on the slipstream as we head into the chicane. He's going to have the inside line. He's surely going to have the ability on the brakes. The Porsche is a bit nimble through the curves, but that Nissan is not too bad at the old Tango overtake two-step, and that one is beautifully engineered there, and that is Scotty at 1.7 up as well. So on the soft tyres, he's starting to find himself some much needed pace. There's going to be some serious movers and shakers.
Yeah, we're being
after the
told
pit
that.
stops.
Oh, sorry, John.
Yes,
There, I thought you were throwing me.
Yeah,
But,
no, crack on.
yeah, we're told that Scotty there had a bit of a problem, mechanical failure at the start, but it was sorted out. He got rolling, lost about 10 seconds to the field, I think. So he's also on the soft tyre, which I don't think was the one he asked for from his pit crew. So he's having to change his strategy on the fly here now. But the upshot of it is that he's got to just go hammer and tong now. And it makes sense to me that he's clearing these harder tyre runners in front of him. And he's going full send, I think, just like Lewis is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Lewis. Apologies, tickle absolutely caught the back of my throat there. But away we go. Scotty, I was talking about Lewis. Yes, Lewis is doing exactly what he needs to be doing, and so is Scotty. And he's using up these tyres. He needs to get these overtakes done to start regaining some position after those early technical issues. I think he's absolutely stuck in the solid little group. Brucey and Motorsport 32, of course, these two have had a couple of penalties so far. And I tell you what, Scotty in no mood for sharing positions at the minute. Airborne could do well to stay in the slipstream and could even find a cheeky little move. Up at the front, can confirm it's still Stone, Ando and Mahinjahit that are running in first, second and third, so it is soft, medium and hard tyres that are currently the on-track leaders. Of course, we'll see them coming in reverse order. Oh no, sorry, we'll see them coming in the same order. I imagine we'll see Stone in first, Andrew Scott in second, and then Mahinjahit in third to change over. But Mahinjahit to be doing such a long stint on the hard tyres and still holding third place. Absolutely phenomenal performance of Scotty. Out of the final chicane, he is absolutely in the hunt, and it is Brucey that he is hunting down. He's going side by side. He's already indicating he's heading for it into Dunlop, and by the time they get there, he's just about got his nose in front. He's going to have the inside line, scrapes on that inside curve beautifully, goes for the cutback potentially. Look at the brakes glowing as here comes Lewis. Wow, yep, so that is Lewis catching up to Scotty. So two soft runners trying to clear the field. One of them going for a race win, one of them on an outside chance of a podium. And these two are now battling one another. And this, Andrew Scott, is both of their worst nightmares. They do not want to be near one another on track right now, given that they are just trying to make the most out of the soft tyres. Soft on soft is not what you need when you're looking at the bigger, longer picture.
No, and Scotty's softs are one lap older than Lewis's as well. But once again, that straight line speed of the Supra just makes short work of the GTR. And now Lewis is somewhat freed up now to keep his charge alive. And he's going to have to clear Brucey soon, although I think after the next chicane he should do that easily as well.
Yeah, he does actually, just making very quick work of that. Scotty, I'd imagine, is going to follow him through on Brucey here, so it'll be two for the price of one before they get to the next chicane, or it certainly is going to be for Lewis. Yeah, those Supras are just frightening in a straight line. It is incredible what the Hooncore machine is managing to do. Scotty, even on the softs, has been massively left behind in that slipstream as well. Lewis has gone sub 4 minutes. Absolutely wild. He's gone sub 4 minutes on the soft tyres in this stint, so the traffic not slowing him up too much. We'll see. Oh, he's 9/10 down on that one though. That is certainly going to cost him in the battle against Gopi Mahinja come the end of the race. Although Gopi, we'll see what he's going to do. So of course, he's on the one stop. So he's going to save 29 seconds based on that. So he can afford to go a little bit longer on those hard tyres. As the Honda heads in, Motorsport 32 now being followed by Lewis. It was Brucey that was chasing him down, and again the Supra making very, very short work. And that's up against the Honda. I mean, the Honda is no slouch in a straight line on a good or bad day, but the Supra just making an absolute mockery of the top end speed. Yeah, I mean, there's OP cars, there's OP cars. Sorry, on you go, Andrew, yeah.
I think he's enjoying himself a bit here, Lewis. He's on the fresh softs, no worries about fuel, and he's in the OP car. And yeah, I'd be enjoying myself too if I was clearing cars that easily down every straight. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what lap times the leaders are doing. So just to give you guys some idea, folks, the pit stop around here is 29 seconds. So Gopi, Ando, et al. Have about 2 and a bit seconds per lap up their sleeve that they can lose to Lewis and still stay in front of him. So, you know, as long as they're doing 4:01 sort of thing pace, you know, compared to Lewis here, they'll gain a bit in fuel as well because it costs time. Lewis is going to have to take on more than one whole tank of fuel. So, you know, they've got the best part of 2.5 seconds per lap in pace that they can afford to give away to Lewis at this stage.
Wow, yeah, that is a considerable, and yeah, for 403s they're lapping in at the minute, although, just as there we go, a bit of foreshadowing again perhaps, Andrew Scott nails a 401, Stone, and look at Stone's front tyres as well, he's just on a 402.7, those tyres, yeah, there's not a lot of rubber left on those rims, I think it's safe to say, and the mediums at Andrew Scott now looking a lot better grip and sector time-wise compared to the race leader's soft tyres. Now this would be an interesting proposition. Ando's surely going to be coming in. Ando Stone. Surely going to be coming in the next lap or two here, I would suggest. I mean, certainly at this point, Andrew, if you're the driver in front on soft tyres and the driver behind on mediums is catching you, that is a big marker to tell you that your your soft tyres may well have run their life cycle and you need to get them swapped over quick.
Yeah, well, Stone's not going to have a choice here, John, because of fuel. So he's also been running hot to trot on this, what we could say an alternate two-stop strategy where he hasn't run the hard yet. So he really should have been well in front of these two cars behind him by now. They've made a bit of a gap on Mahindajit there, who I think has suffered with another penalty or two whilst running the hards. So he's stuck back there on his own, and I wasn't happy about that, John, because I needed him as a little bit of a somewhat de facto teammate at that stage, because we were doing a little bit of bump drafting to try and stay with Stone. So I wasn't happy about Gopi's couple of penalties. But yeah, Gopi's still sitting pretty nicely because he's getting his hards out of the way. And, you know, so Stone here is obviously suffering on these softs at the end of his lap. He'll be in this lap for sure.
Yeah, absolutely got to be. I mean, look at the difference there. It's like Andrew's on the soft tyres and Stone is on the mediums, the way the times are overturning here, and this is playing right into Andrew's hands as well, getting a nice bit of slipstream along that back straight as well from a driver that's about to come into the pits. That'll give Andrew at least a lap or two to get himself out, and yeah, Stone losing another 0.6 of a second on that lap. But can indeed see Gopi in the background there. Pitauso is now ahead of McCallum and Nick Pfaff, so I wonder if Nick Pfaff hasn't been in the pits because Lewis is still behind them. Motorsport 32 in 8th place, but Nick Pitauso, now leading the way out of the group of himself, McCallum and Nick Pfaff, that have been having a great little battle just on the periphery of the podium. You never know, we could see something Wow, and what we're seeing is a complete failure of those tyres, and that is the quickest car on the track, with the prime tyre on said car being absolutely mullered. Is the professional terminology, I believe, out of the hairpin and into the final sectors of the course. And Andrew, at this point, again, this is at this stage of the race, this is playing right into your hands as far as strategy go. You get a nice bit of slipstream for the race leader, and your medium's clearly outgunning his softs and giving you an advantage at the end of his stint.
Yeah, he was actually holding me up though, so I wasn't too happy about it. But I think you might have noticed there, if you was down the straight, I pulled out thinking I might go round him, but then I just hit a brick wall of air, and that Supra, the way it pulls in a straight line, I had no chance of getting around him. So I just had to pull back in and accept through Indianapolis there that we were going to be a bit slow. And then eventually I said, I'm going to have to make a move here because he was holding me up.
Yeah, you got to know when to hold them, and you've got to know when to fold them. And speaking of folding them, that is the drivers unfolding the tyre blankets, getting them off the, or refolding the tyre blankets now that they're off the tyres, and it's Stone coming in to the pit. So this is now our fourth race leader we have up at the front. It is Andrew Scott up there. We've had Lewis go behind Hinges that had a quick shot, and we've had, of course, Stone up there as well. Here comes Nick Patauso on the hard tyres. He's got some good running out with them so far. Motorsport 32 comes in on the mediums. So we have an early stop on the mediums. Oh, okay, by a lap or two, actually. I'm not going to throw him under the bus too far because we are, yeah, we're at the halfway mark of the race. Wow, incredible. How does time fly so quickly during these races? Scotty in the pits as well. 13 litres of fuel left. So he was running the tank dry. He'll swap his soft tyres, which he didn't want on in the first place. Oh, Nick Pfaff with a penalty. Nick Pfaff with a penalty. Quite a few penalties around here. It's one of these courses, Andrew. It's so easy. I mean, if we were to look up penalty stats around this course, it would just be at least 2 to 3 shared between the field per lap. No matter how much time we practice around here, no matter how well drivers know their car or know this track, they, as you mentioned, these imaginary white lines through the chicanes and things, they just catch you out time and time and time again. And over a 50-minute race, these 5 seconds here and there, they can soon mount up to a big gap to your competitors.
Yeah, they can actually mess with your strategy as well. They can actually, cause you to lose touch with the car in front, so you lose your slipstream advantage. So they are the most frustrating of things to have to deal with around Le Mans. So you much prefer not to be getting them. So, they all add up as well. So if you're getting them constantly, it throws you off your rhythm. It's frustrating. You get a little bit hot under the collar in your chair, and they tend to feed off each other. So once you start one, they tend to go a bit viral, and you end up getting more. So much better to stay in rhythm, stay up with the car in front, and not be picking up these penalties there. But you see a 3-second there for Brucey. What's he done there? I can't even imagine how he's picked that up. That's going to really cost him some time here. That's going to cost him 5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah, that's well. I think he might have insulted one of the stewards' wives. I mean, a 3-second penalty, you've got to go pretty hardcore.
Whatever it is, it's a pretty egregious offence he's committed, and he's going to pay the price, I tell you what, when they get through to the third sector.
Indeed he is, yeah. 3 seconds, that is an absolute howler. Not what Brucey, although full credit to him, that livery is absolutely exquisite. Look at the pearlescent on there, just phenomenal. Big shout out to all the liveries that the teams do. I am a huge admirer of the paint jobs that they can put on these race cars. It is not an easy thing to do, and they all look absolutely incredible. But yeah, Brucey's for me, nice bit of pearlescent purple, green and blue in there. It just, suit you, sir. Very nice. Unfortunately, for Brucey, we will get a nice view of it when he goes through the penalty line, because he'll be going very slowly for 3 seconds, which is a lifetime in motor racing. We've got Andrew Scott still up in the lead of the race with Gopi Mahinchit in second, and Nick Patauso currently occupying third. Change once we see, or will it all change when we see some more pit stops as Nick Pfaff is going to be into the pits. He has long time early pit stop time. Lewis behind him, but that won't be for long one way or another, because Lewis will either get the overtake done or Nick Pfaff will come into the pits because he is running on fumes, much like Andrew Scott and Gopi Mahenjahit were. 0 litres of fuel from Andrew. I can imagine the bullets of sweat that were coming down. And Lewis is coming as well for his second stop, as the rest of the field are in the pit, Andrew. That is perfectly timed as far as Lewis goes, and in fact he could have been a bit closer if he was able to get past Nick Pfaff a little bit quicker, or get past Nick Pfaff. He couldn't get past Nick there, but this is now a dash for the end of the race, but Lewis coming off the soft tyre and everyone else going back on it.
Yeah, Lewis will jump back on softs again because he's already run his hard tyre. So he's got 6 quali laps to go to finish off this race. And Gopi is switching onto the mediums. So I think that gap that I have on him might not be enough, because I'm now going to have to do 6 hard laps. And Gopi's got the mediums and, full license with fuel here now as well. He'll fill up with fuel and he'll only have to get 6 laps out of a tank, which all the cars can quite easily do around here. So Gopi in position A1 right now, I think.
Yeah, I think he is looking good. And there we see back out, Gopi Mahenjahit back out as well. Airborne is the on-track leader at the moment. That will change fairly soon, because he's going to come into the pit. There is Gopi out, confirmed that he is on the medium tyre, so he's not done any soft laps. Am I right in saying that?
I think Airborne somehow eked out 8 laps out of a tank, has he? Or did he pit on lap 1 as well? I'm not sure.
He pitted early.
Yeah, so Airborne's doing well here. He's got the effect. He's got the net or gross lead of the race right here. His tyres are looking okay. But look at this, the net lead of the race being battled out here. Mahenjahit is gaining on Ando here, myself, pretty easily, because cold hards are not my forte, I'll tell you that much, John.
Yeah, it's a rare breed of driver that can handle cold hard tyres. They are ridiculous, quite frankly. And Gopi Mahenjahit is on the mediums. We've seen what he can do on the hard tyres. He was keeping pace pretty much with the race leaders. He's now a step up in grip, and he is a step up in pace as well, by the look of it. A beautiful corner exit. That little bit of extra grip, sprinkle in a little dashing of slipstream, and that is the Nissan GT3 once again back on the podium. And I think we could see another improvement on position potentially, as well as Stone up in 2nd place overall. Has got a penalty, is on the soft tyre, so is going full quali mode here to get to the end and secure that win. Lewis back out in 7th place, but that should go back to 6th position. Once Airborne comes into the pits, we'll see if the drivers are basically, who can avoid the penalties? Now is the really big question. Who can avoid the penalties and bring home a nice safe car, because they are still pretty close throughout, and the lap time's still pretty close as well. 3:59.3 for Lewis. Still got the fastest lap of the race. He's got McCallum ahead of him, and Nick Patasso to get past as well. Nick Pfaff is behind him, so he's dropped down the order after the pit stop, so more penalty woes there for some of the drivers. It really is an absolute heartbreaker around here. Airborne coming into the pits as Lewis flies past McCallum. That Nissan Supra, Toyota Supra. Goodness me, I'm not obsessed with the GTR. You are. The Toyota Supra. Oof. Sparks off the curb, Andrew, and again just showing just how dominant that car is around this track, and it's got a good home on this calendar as well. When we look at the courses that we've got coming up, I mean, the likes of Spa and things, the Supra is just going to go from strength to strength as the season carries on.
Yeah, it may well do. We've got some longer tracks, although this will be the track that it's the most dominant, I think. It's going to give a little bit back at most of the other tracks for the rest of the season. But just to give you viewers some idea of the net leaders of this race, as we see Airborne coming into the pits, he's one of the top 6 or 7 cars that still has to pit. So the only cars that don't have to pit again at the moment are Mahindajit, Ando, and Lewis. So all the cars around them have got one more pit stop to make. So the net lead of this race is a little bit too hard to work out at the moment. But from my point of view, what I think it is that these cars that don't have to stop again are the ones that are going to fight out the podium. So we've got Mahindajit, then Ando, then Lewis. So let's see if we can how far back Lewis is, because he is on a charge. And this is how it was always going to pan out now. If he chose that two-stop strategy, he's going to have to make some overtaking for the whole race. And if he wants to get up into the top 1 or 2 spots, he's going to have to make a few more.
Yes, indeed, yes. Yeah, one of them is going to have to be, well, yourself and Gopi Mahindajit, and that is not going to be an easy overtake. Ando on the hard... Oh, sorry, you go.
Sorry, mate, we'll just have a quick look at the lap times. Ando, they're circulating. It was a bit hard to see their lap 8 because it was an out lap. But, yeah, he's on the hards and Lewis is on the softs. So Lewis, we know, is going to be in that 59 range. So Ando's going to be leaking oil to him till the end of this race, and it's going to be a case of whether I can hold him off or not. And not only that, he's coming back at Mahindajit too for the actual win of the race. So depending on what the gap is right now, he's got 3 or 4 laps to make it up and get himself onto the podium. Let's see what he can do.
Yes, indeed. He's going to need to be absolutely flat out. He's got Nick Patauso ahead of him at the moment in the Mercedes. Again, another driver that still needs to pit. We've only got about 4 laps left. Well, potentially 4. We'll see where the race timer falls out with the Mercedes of Patauso. Another phenomenal, same one as same paint job as Brucey, of course.
Actually, I think Nick's pitted. Nick's on fresh soft, so I think he's
so Nick so he is. Yeah, so Nick is good to go. So he is running to the end, but he's just
this is an actual battle for position. So let's see how this one pans out.
So he's got an actual battle here. Soft v softs as well. Mercedes versus Supra. We've seen what the Supra's done against, well, quite frankly, the rest of the field so far. Does it have the number of the Mercedes? Not before they get to the hairpin. Oh, in the back of the Mercedes, just stepping out ever so slightly.
Here we go. I think he's sitting back here, John. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely is. Patauso setting good laps as well. He was well over a second up on his own personal best through that sector, and it just goes to show you what Lewis has got. It's almost like the Mercedes is standing still as the Supra goes to the left-hand side and already out in front. And yeah, sitting duck, as you said there, Andrew. The Supra is just all conquering, and Lewis, I mean, you put Lewis behind the wheel of that thing, it is a tasty combination, and Lewis on a charge at the minute and setting purple sectors as he's making overtakes.
Yeah, he got a beautiful exit out of the Mount Mulsanne exit there, so he was always going to get past Nick. But once again, still astonishing, and it must be so dejecting to the Mercedes driver to just sit there and have nothing he can do about it, and the Supra just cruises past you like that. But there's no doubting Lewis's talent here. He's extracting the absolute most out of this car and the strategy. So, it's not anyone that could pull off this strategy that he's doing because he's avoiding penalties, he's keeping it clean, he's setting purple sectors, which is exactly what he was going to have to do to make this strategy work. So, full credit to him. He's having a go, and he's at the moment pulling it off. He's got a bit of a gap left to Ando, though. So let's see what I'd say he's going to get a podium, but let's see what colour that medal's going to be. Is it going to be bronze, silver, or gold? Let's see.
Indeed, yeah, because he is running out of laps to get caught up. Stone's still out in the lead with Mahindajit in second. Wow, 1.1 seconds, although it's come up red. But that's a 3-minute 58.2. Lewis has managed to throw in there. That's not too shabby a lap time as the race is coming to an end. There is Stone up in the lead. His softs are almost run and done, and that is one Gopi Mahinja hit on fairly fresh mediums. I mean, even if they weren't fresh mediums, it doesn't matter. It's a Mahinja hit behind the wheel, so that car is going to be going exponentially quickly, and it is definitely closing in exponentially quickly on Stone.
And
We're on
yeah,
track
Luke
leader.
Stone, he still has to stop too. So he's somewhat out of position here. He definitely hasn't run the hard tyre yet, so he's got to make one more stop.
Okay, so he's gone for a long first couple of stints and a 4-minute point one, so no slouch at all. So doing exactly what he needs to do. I mean, he's getting his lap times down there, but Gopi Mahinja hit is just on a 3-minute 59.5 on mediums.
Wow.
And he's currently 9/10ths quicker on this lap. It's absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, Andrew, let's talk plainly here. You're in the race with Gopi. He is doing these type of lap times. 3-minute 59.5 on mediums. Do you come into these races and think to yourself, right, there's 15 of us, there's no one called Mahinja hit, we're all fighting for first place, which is actually second?
It's a little bit like that, mate. As we saw in the first stint there, I was on the mediums and Gopi was on the hards, and I decided to actually sit back and work with him rather than try to gap him. So I effectively conceded first place to him by doing that, and I was just hoping to milk a little bit off of him and get myself a P2. So I had already conceded the victory to Gopi on the first couple of laps. He's that good. He's actually that good, yeah.
He really is, yeah. And it's not like it's a terrible concession to make. Let's face it, he is absolutely otherworldly behind the wheel of these cars. Behind any car, really. It is now Patauso's turn once again to have a penalty. No penalty for Nick Pfaff. He's in 6th position. He'll be pleasantly happy with that. He's got a decent set of tyres underneath him as well. Again, just needs to avoid these track limits. Bring the car to the end and bring home some exceptionally valuable points. We've still, of course, got 8 rounds to race. 7 rounds to race after this one. Scott is still ahead of Airborne and Brucey. Brucey with a couple of penalties himself. Did find himself at one point up near the top 5. Now running 10th place. But a good race there. Nonetheless, Bruce will be happy with those points, that is for sure. Stone will be in soon. Motorsport 32, another driver with a good race. Started in 15th place, 14th place, and is up into 11th. On curse to the commentator, carrying a penalty. Dubzetto and Johnson not far behind either. So, oh yeah, last few laps. I mean, there's no good time to pick up a penalty, Andrew, but when you're focused in on the final couple of laps as Johnson picks one up as well, it really does break the rhythm. And as you say, it's almost like there should be some kind of Yoda type phrase, one penalty leads to many type scenario, because it really does round here. Again, not to harp on about the penalties, but they are such a huge factor around this historic course.
Yeah, the problem with this track is that you've got to push those track limits in order to make the most out of your lap time. So you need to be using all the track on these big, wide corners, high-speed corners, and you're running out wide on every corner nearly. So if you cut an apex or run out a little bit too wide, there it is. That's a paddling. You know, you're going to pick it up. So it's a double-edged sword. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't have a go at them and push those track limit penalties, you're not going to get a decent lap time anyway. So you've got to. They're a necessary cost of doing business around here, unfortunately.
That's a nice way of putting it. It's a necessary tariff required to excel around here. And I tell you what, talk about excelling around here. He can excel around absolutely any course at all, and he's about to accelerate himself past Stone into the braking zone. First chicane done and dusted. It's Gopi Mahinja hit into the lead of the race. Do not adjust your sets. The driver on the medium tyre has just absolutely annihilated the driver on the soft tyres. That is the level of talent that Gopi has got.
Yeah. Did you see what he did there? He bumped him down the straight at the start,
Right.
in order to increase both of their top speed, and then he just pulled out alongside, made use of his much better conditioned tires, and outbroke the Supra into the first chicane. So he absolutely maximised his time advantage on that car that he's just overtaken. He's absolutely just perfected that.
Yeah, it's really, really, really disturbingly annoying, isn't it? He's quick, he's consistent, he's got the strategy. It's just soul destroying. Soul destroying. I give up.
Very high racing IQ there. Very high racing IQ. Not only the talent and the raw speed, but just, a master chess move there as well. So he does that constantly. Everywhere he's at, he decides whether to bump draft you or to overtake you and clear you. These guys, Lewis, Dopey, they just have this innate ability to make decisions like that that turn out to be advantageous. They just know how to be fast at all times.
Yeah. As I said earlier, you've got to know when to hold them and you've got to know when to fold them. And both those drivers, absolute experts at both of those much required skill sets. There is Nick Pfaff picking up another penalty again. Consistency is key to winning races, but consistently picking up penalties is, not the type of consistency that you want. Another half second for Pfaff, and again, it might say half a second, but we all know it's definitely over, almost a second, if not slightly over. It'll end up taking off your time and giving an advantage to your opponents. As you're trying to make your way around here, and Airborne picking up one as well. It's an absolute raft of them in the closing stages, and we are on potentially the penultimate lap. Lap number 11 might see 13 laps. Definitely going to see 12.
Yeah, this is a crucial lap, John. So anyone that can finish this lap and still have about 4 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the race, they're going to get 13 laps. So this is very, very crucial indeed. For all of these drivers here. The top drivers, I think, most definitely are going to get 13, but then there's going to be a cut-off at some point where from the mid-pack down, they're only going to get 12.
Okay, so some of the field are going to be a lap down. Let's hope everyone's got their strategy in order. Did someone say foreshadowing? Gopi Mahinjahit still in the lead of the race. Stone currently in second. Does need another pit stop though, so Andrew will be promoted up to second place potentially. Lewis still racing away in fourth place. He is on soft tyres. He's double stinted the softs and done a hard stint as well. Lewis's softs looking a bit worn. The hard tyres for Ando at the moment, they're not going to be much use in a battle at the moment. Sorry, yes, on you go.
That hasn't finished, the 4 minute mark, we've just hit it. So anyone that hasn't finished their lap yet is only going to get 12. So that looks like, down around here, Brucey's only going to get 12, probably Scotty as well. So those guys are all destined for 12 laps. I'll get the checkered flag next time round.
Right, okay, so that's going to be them. Done and dusted. So Gope's still out. Stone, Andrew and Lewis are still out. I think Andrew at the moment, does he have a look in his rear view mirror of the front of Lewis's Supra? Oh yes, he does.
Wow. I've been watching my mirrors for a while here, John. The relative lap times are not good either, are they? Look at that. So I've got my work cut out for me right here. But Luke Stone up ahead there in second. Interesting one there because he hasn't run the mandatory tyre yet. So, he's going to get to lap 13. He's going to have to pit, though, and put on the hard tyre. But at least he's made lap 13. So he's effectively beaten everyone behind him that's only going to get 12. So what do you call this, John? A master strategy? Like he's leaving it till the very end to get that hard lap in, but it's that decision that's got him to 13 laps in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, listen, use the strategy to whatever advantage you can, and it seems like he's found himself a nice little way of running that. Use the avoid the hard tyre to make sure you stay on the lead lap, and only use the hard tyre on the final lap. The soft tyres though, strapped to the boots of Lewis's Supra at the minute. He is a second down on his own best time, but his best time is the best time. It's a 3 minute 58.2. Gopi Mahinjahit on the mediums has gotten very, very, very close to that indeed. I would love to see what Gopi could do on a set of softs. I wonder what a Supra could do in a straight line on a set of softs against a BMW on mediums. And it's done and dusted already. On the way in the chicane, that was a GT3 versus a GT4, folks. We'll save Andrew's blushes. He's only in a GT4 BMW there. No, Andrew, that is strategy perfection personified, to steal an alliteration too far.
Two competing
Lewis getting it done.
Right there. Yep. Two competing strategies coming together. And I'm thinking I'm just going to hang on to him here. He might not have enough fuel for 13 laps. So I'm thinking he might have miscalculated, because he was going astonishingly fast there. So I'm happy. I've got plenty of fuel, but I was wondering if Lewis had enough fuel or not. So I was still not giving up hope just yet. And also the soft tyres were getting a bit tired for Lewis as well. So we're going to cross the line here and start that 13th lap, that all-important 13th lap. And I'm going to try and stick with him here, because you never know on that last lap of an endurance race what's going to happen. I've seen him run out of fuel before, so you know, not over yet.
Precedence has been set. Absolutely, hold on to your hats. Here we go. There is Stone coming in to the pits for his final pit stop. As mentioned, needs to run the hard tyres. Master stroke. Keeping himself on the lead lap. Nick Pitauso crossing the line. He is going to be on the lead lap as well as Nick Pfaff comes through the final chicanes. He is going to get past Stone as well. Tumbling like a stone. And where is McCallum? I thought he was coming at the pits. The twitchy little car. That is another very good livery on the Ferrari. I do like that as well, and I'm definitely biased. I mean, I'm not biased. Freudian slip. And he crosses the line, and that is McCallum pulling over. So, yep, so he's got 12 laps done and dusted. That is McCallum's race run, so he is going to finish in 7th place. That's Brucey in 8th, Scotty in 9th, Airborne is going to get 10th position across the line. Motorsport 32 up to 11th. What a drive. Dubzetto in 12th. Johnson is going to get 13th place. With Water Arrow in the BMW and Spark in the Porsche, bringing up the rear of the field. But it is all about this podium battle. Gopi Mahinjahit is battling with medium tyres. Lewis on the soft is battling with Andrew Scott on the mediums. The softs pretty much just on the edge of the cliff. Can Lewis keep enough life out with him on the final lap, or does he even need to, given the straight line speed of that Supra? Wow. That is, yep, GT3 against GT4 type performance there. That Supra is absolutely, I mean, and again, just a quick reminder, no adjustments can be made to the cars apart from brake bias, so it's not like Lewis is running zero wing on that thing. The balance of performance doesn't allow that type of thing, and yeah, it's still leaving it absolutely standing. So yeah, a good throw of the dice by Andrew. As he mentioned there in the commentary box, he did give up a bit of time to Gopi, trying to work together there to pick up some pace with the slipstream. Didn't quite work in his favour. Hoping to sneak that 2nd place, but Lewis on the softs, 2 stints on the softs, he's been absolutely flying. Stone as well. Oh, his petrol tank is very red. That is very red. Is that a bit red? Is Stone, he's cutting it very close across the line here, Andrew, unless I am very much mistaken. That doesn't look like a healthy petrol tank for the last lap.
Yeah, he's got half a lap to go here as he comes to the end of the Messane Straight. So he might be good on fuel, but I tell you what, the race finish delay started because that first car took the checkered flag. So they've all got 3 minutes to finish their lap here. And Luke Stone has to complete this lap because he's now performing his mandatory tyre lap. So if he doesn't, if the race finishes before he finishes the lap, he might have something to answer to with the stewards.
Indeed, yeah. Needs to complete, as I mentioned at the start, all drivers must complete one competitive lap in the mandatory tyre, which is the hards. So there could be some questions asked for Stone. He's just out on the hards now. He's really pushing that pedal tank. We'll jump up and see where the race leader is. He should be just going to the finish line, and indeed, there we go. So the results to the end, we'll talk about it straight away, because you and I both know, Andrew, there was, as we saw there, one of the drivers didn't complete the mandatory lap on the hard. It's had an effect on the standings because it means he hasn't finished the race, received the penalty, and ends up finishing last.
Yeah, so that's an unfortunate quirk of this game. The race finish delay can't be any more than 180 seconds, which is 3 minutes, and it's actually a 4-minute lap around here. So when that first car behind Luke Stone crossed the line and took the checkered flag, that's when the 180 seconds timer started. And unfortunately, we saw there Luke Stone still at about the start of the final sector, wasn't he? I think he got to Indianapolis there, and then the screen just went black because that was the 180 seconds timer running out, and all the cars that were still racing were then just, effectively teleported to the finish line, weren't they? So even the leaders of the race, the podium finishers, didn't make the checkered flag, unfortunately, due to a funny quirk in this game.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate one. And quite the way to finish the elite and pro categories. Of course, that was the elites and pros that were out there, and it was Gopi Mahinjahit that took the top spot with 35 points under his belt for Gridline Racing. Lewis Atkinson finishing in second for Hoon Courts Esports, and Andrew Scott for Hasel1 Motorsport in third place. It's had some interesting pops on the standings as well. Lewis now up into second place. Bear with me one moment. And yeah, so we've got the, as I say, the race results up on screen. We've got Lewis Atkinson, Nick Patauso in third place in the championship as well. So that fourth place there, doing him well in the standings. So great result there for him. And in that was the elites. Of course, in the pros, it was Glenn Mead who brought home the race. Sorry, Matt McCallum brought home the race win. Glenn Mead in second, and Scott Taylor for Gridline rounding out the podium. CP Motorsports, Mad Turtle Racing and Gridline all on the podium. Lightning fourth and fifth, with Chris Warapapa in fourth and Michael Brill in fifth place. I've just absolutely brutalised that one there. You absolutely love it. Matthew Johnson in sixth place, Riley Nicholson in seventh, and Nick Roberts in eighth position. Andrew, an absolutely cracking night of racing there. We'll get a look at the team standings after race number 2 with George and Nick. But that one, a great race to open, and very close for yourself to sneak in that second place after a solid attempt at the strategy there.
Yeah, there's a bit of drama there, wasn't it, John? Different strategies playing out, track limits. Unfortunate there for Luke Stone. You didn't see him on the results screen there because he was relegated to last place for that infringement. The stewards decided, it was a little bit debated, but it was decided that he didn't finish one whole lap on hards. So he unfortunately got disqualified effectively from that race. But yeah, at the top there, Gopi stand out, made the one-stop work beautifully. Myself, I didn't quite make it work. Lewis, with his raw pace, prevailed, but only just. So I was happy to be the best of the rest there, and I was battling for that second place for the last couple of days. So it was fun. It was a good fun race, and it was a good one to call.
Indeed it was. Indeed it was. Of course, that was race number 1 from round 2 of the Player1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship. A Queensland-based 100% Australian-owned and operated. They launched Player1 and set to create out an online destination for racers and flight simmers. Not to mention sim farmers, sim space pilots, sim truckers, and all other kinds of sims as well, to shop for all the best hardware, brands at the best prices. We hope you jump on over to their site. P1simgear.com.au is the place you need to go, so jump on over there and help support a sponsor that's helped supporting our beloved sim racing. As I mentioned, that was race number 1. Race number 2 will be here after a very short break. I'll get a very quick driver of the day from Andrew before we go. Some standout performances there. I think I know who I'm going to go for very quickly. But Andrew, who do you fancy today for driver of the day?
Oh, look, it's a hard one, mate. So Gopi with a stellar performance there once again. But we're coming to expect that from him, aren't we? But I'm going to go right out of left field here, and I'm going to give my driver of the day to Luke Stone, the disqualified driver, because I think he pulled off a master strategy. He got himself onto the last lap, and, I think it's just terrible luck that the timer ran out on him because he was a pro driver. So he was up there in the top 4 or 5 drivers, in there with the elite guys for most of the race. And, I think it was not intentional that the race timer ran out on him. So I'm going to give it to Luke Stone for a unfortunate but good strategy choice.
I think I'm going to have to be very boring. I don't often go for the race winner, but Gopi Mahinja to do those times on those tyres, absolutely as calm as a comb. I mean, Lewis Atkinson, what a charge and what a strategy to get second place in the 2-stopper. But yeah, Gopi for me, another standout. So yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to have to be very boring and plain and vanilla and go for Gopi on that one. But that is all we've got from Andrew and myself. But stay tuned, we'll have a quick break. We'll be back from more wonders from down under. It will be George Cook and Nick Patasso that take us through race number 2 with the AM and Pro-Am titles still very much in contention here at the Circuit de la Sarthe. Better known, of course, as Le Mans. Thank you very much to everyone that's tuned in so far, and I do hope you enjoy the rest of the racing. But for the moment, it is a good night from Andrew.
Cheers, John. Pleasure as always, mate. See you, folks.
And it is a good night from me, and we'll be back very shortly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Player1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship, where we pick up where John and Andrew have left us off. The Group A coverage, absolutely exciting. Great to see so many strategies coming together. This is the nature of these longer circuits. And in a 50-minute race, while we don't see what we necessarily do see in the endurance style events when they're multiple hours, we certainly do see a lot of this intertwining of strategy. Great things seen out on track, and we're hoping to see the same here in the Pro-Am category in a few moments' time. We'll get through your qualifying results momentarily. My name is George Cook. I'll be in here as your lead commentator for Group B, and I'm joined in the commentary box by Nick Pautasso, who was also diligently watching on as his race unfolded in front of him for the second time this week, in fact. Nick, give us a little breakdown of that and tell us what you're looking forward to in Group B.
Yes, good evening, George. Good evening, viewers. So how it worked out in Lobby A was very, very exciting. That's one thing. It was a very intense race, just a strategy masterclass of what some of the drivers are doing, running the alternative strategy of running a medium tire and a hard tire, whilst we saw probably maybe the basic strategy would have been just the hard and the softs, but Lewis is with the double soft and Luke Stone's with the double soft and hard. Very controversial end to that race, so that'll definitely be a talking point at the end of the season. But overall, I thought for my race itself was pleasant. I would say it was just a nice Sunday drive, not going too fast, not going too slow, just trying to uphold the Mad Turtle reputation of just keeping it on the tarmac and just keeping the car straight. But nonetheless, I am looking forward to what we have in action for Lobby B.
Certainly are lots of stuff to flesh its way out in Pro-Am and Am category. Just a little idea there. We had some great results from the previous race in round one at Monza. And just taking a very, very quick look at that in Pro-Am lead, Joe Rudinsky for Mad Turtle Racing. He was a real standout. I think he might be a standout here at Le Mans as well. Blake Williamson in second place and 30 points there. He's finished in second place. And of course, after round one, that is the effective standings. Marcel Oberton was in third place. So that's Pro-Am in terms of leading the Am class. Jack Finch, Hooncorp Esports were on an absolute charge all the way through round one, whether it was in Group A or Group B. They were really, really dominant, and of course we are going to potentially see more of that. Luke Stone, a little bit of a stone's thrown there, but Nick, as I hear it, there has been a little bit of a change in terms of how the team's title points are calculated, with only 3 of the 4 drivers for each team actually scoring points to an effective drop round or a drop driver for each round.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is just a counter of the fact that some of the teams may not be able to field a 4-man driver team for each round. So obviously the MotorMotion admin have just been very lenient on that, allowing the team owners to hire 4 drivers. But of course, being a Tuesday night and being during the week, real world action comes out and about, and commitments to racing does make it a bit little bit different and challenging for drivers. But nonetheless, to have 3 drivers, you need to have at least 3 drivers in the lobby, and that's where you'll be getting the maximum points. So obviously the calculations at the end of this round will be very interesting to see how we go with Luke Stone's disqualification. So he has the Pro-Am and the Am drivers to really, really uphold the Hooncorp lead at the end of this round.
Absolutely right. So a little refresher of what we're about to see out here. 15 minutes at Cirque de la Sarthe. That is Le Mans. Sunrise is the time of day. Racing hard tires are mandatory for this race. So we're going to get some shenanigans with the 13th lap. We shall see. Hopefully no one's going to run afoul of that in Group B for the Pro-Am and Am class. We do know that the times are often a little bit closer between these two categories of driver. The weather is going to be the same out there, 22 degrees Celsius, as John let us know in the previous one. We'll get to our qualifying results in a moment's time. Just a little bit of housekeeping, of course. Player1 Sim Gear, so go check them out, p1simgear.com.au for all your sim racing needs. Go and check out all the results, the news, the articles, and all the upcoming registrations for probably next year, since this is the last series of the year for MotorMotion E-Series. www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. And of course, our broadcasting partners here at MotorMotion, TrackSpot TV, of which myself and Nick are a part of. Go and check us out on www.trackspot.tv if you want to join the commentary and broadcasting team here, or if your league is in need of commentary and broadcasting in super high quality, do let us know. Jump onto the website. All the information is there. Actually, for the first time, we're hoping this does work. We are going out in 2K to our channels. So MotorMotion E-Series YouTube and the TrackSpot TV YouTube, where the uploads will be found. Should be seeing this in 1440p, 60 frames a second, maybe even 4K. We shall see, but hoping that the quality is looking good tonight. Right, let us get through our qualifying results, and this is how things have panned out. It is Expat Guilo on top again. Mad Turtle Racing seem a little bit unstoppable. It's a 4-minute 0.8. Boosted Blake in second in the Group 3 Supra. For Hooncorp Esports, a 4:02.1. 1.3 second gap here. Mad Turtle, Gas Turtle, I don't know what it is. Have you got a rocket ship on the back of that turtle?
Yeah, Joe Rudinsky setting a stellar lap time with his car performance in the Mercedes AMG. Really strong lap there from the man himself. He does absolutely love this circuit. He loves Le Mans. He's always been going through the headset, talking to us in the comms and saying, I love this track, you know, it just gels with me. I really enjoy the performance that I can have with this car. But at the same time, you know, it's good to see that Mercedes being up on top. We saw the GTR and the Supra being very strong competitors in one lap pace. So Boosted Blake 1.3 behind. So it'll be interesting to see how he approaches lap 1 when he's behind the Mercedes Mad Turtles, Joe Rudinsky. So it's going to be very exciting. This lobby, as we always know, George, is the chaotic lobby, is the carnage lobby. We absolutely love it. And yeah, with Joe Rudinsky leading the way of 14 other drivers, it's going to be a very spicy race come the Mulsanne at the end of lap 1.
Certainly will be. Troy Brittnell qualifies in 3rd position for Lightning Motorsport. Then it's Abdul Ming in for Hooncorp this time out. Mark Hasel1 in the M6 for Hasel1 Motorsport in 5th, then Calculated Risk in 6th position in the Porsche. Then it is Mark Hogan for Aster Racing in the RCZ in 7th, Blue Dog in 8th position. Jeff Bruin on the back of not having a lot of practice at Monza, might not have had as much practice as he'd like, but he is in the top 10 this time, so P9 for him in the GTR for GLR. It is the RSR Robbo in the RCZ in 10th place. Then it is Aussie Psycho for CP Motorsports in the Ferrari, followed by Legendary Berry in the Porsche, and SM Cosmic, I think, coming in as a reserve for Hasel1 this week out. Lots of action to be had in Group B. Let's head out to track and get this started. All right, here we go. It is Expat on poles. The Mad Turtle doing incredibly well. Once again, Jeff Bruin down in 9th place. What can he do today as we hear the lights go? And we're away for Group B. It's Pro-Am and Am, led by Expat at the moment. Mad Turtle Racing off to a good start. Off the line, relatively easy to do. Rolling starts here at the GT3 Championship. Sunrise conditions going to make it a little bit challenging coming over this initial rise. The sun will hit your visor. Hopefully you've got that blue strip on your windscreen. A little bit of issues there with the latency for Troy Brittnell by the looks of it. Through the first S's we go through, he's already made a bit of an advance, or I should say actually Jack Finch, our AM class leader, has made a bit of an advance on the number 55 car. So clearly got a bit of pace. We've got hard tires for Troy Brittnell. We've got mediums for Expat, softs for Boosted Blake, and it's hard for Jack Finch. Mediums for Hasel1. That's Mark Hasel1 in the number 16 car, my favorite number. Very, very good. And the first bit of slipstream down the first straight. Let's see how this all pans out. Hasel1 looking for a bit of a maneuver there on the medium tires. Jack Finch's hard tires going to leave him right out and basically cut out to dry, as is Boosted Blake while he passes Expat on this first straight and into the braking zone. The soft tires, of course, massive advantage early on for him, but 3 different initial strategies being seen by the drivers as we see a car just fly off into the barrier. That was Jack Finch, and he's gone completely straight. There is absolutely no attempt to brake there for whatever reason. Massive slowdown by a couple of drivers. Troy Britnell involved in that one. There must have been contact between the two, because typically you see the 150 board and you slam on the brakes, and it didn't look like he slowed down at all.
No, and then that's engine damage on the Super as well. So he's got the whole Mulsanne straight and the back and the second half of the track to be able to renegotiate back into the pit lane. But what a disaster for Hooncorp, for the joys of what we had in Lobby A with Lewis Atkinson and the demise of Luke Stone's disqualification. This is not what Hooncorp needed, with Jack Finch at the back foot with engine damage. I'm pretty sure that may have been a latency problem between Troy Britnell and Jack Finch, because he went absolutely skyrocketing, back to the future-esque with the DeLorean for these Toyota Supra, going back in time to what it was like in the early 60s and 50s, where it was just pretty much a straight, the Mulsanne straight. So that chicane didn't exist at all. So he must have been practicing the old layout, George.
Must have been, yeah. Lots of history here. Of course, 102 years, opened in 1923, and I think we were going a little bit faster than the DeLorean there. So I don't know if we were just time traveling. We might have been multiverse traveling on that one. It was certainly quick, and it was certainly straight into the barrier. Troy Britnell does recuse himself from that, I suspect, or not recuse, but redress the position. He slowed down, he waited, he realized something has happened as we now head into this lovely section of track. A little bit wide there from Expat, a little bit dirty tires. The mediums versus the softs, though, he's done quite well to keep up. That's as a result of the previous straights. If he can hold on to this slipstream, he's really eating into the strategy that Boosted Blake is executing.
Yeah, absolutely. And he had a 1.3 buffer in qualifying. So compared to the pace that these two are showing against the rest of the field, with Mark Hasel1 in P3, you can just see they're just forming a little bubble, a little gap amongst the rest of the field, and they're just going to work with each other. So Expat's definitely got a bit of a pace advantage over Boosted Blake. Overly not comfortable around this track just yet, but the soft tires is definitely going to help him in this strategy as we look down the field. Jeff Bruin from P9 all the way up into P6 after a couple of incidents with Troy Britnell and Jack Finch, elevating him a few positions up into P6. Mark Hogan in P5 for the Aster Racing, with Richard Robertson making it a Aster Racing sandwich with a filling of Gridline Racing Nissan GTR. So it's a bit of a mixed strategy that we have with the drivers. Obviously, we saw this in Group A, in Lobby A, with the Elite and Pro. Some were starting on the racing mediums, racing hards, and the racing softs. It is a very hard track to really get the strategy down pat, because it is a 50-minute race, and we did see that the time limit can be a big factor. So whether the drivers are looking to get those hard tires out of the way, as we saw some of the drivers in Lobby A do, we're looking at a lot of Lobby B drivers doing very similar, but we are seeing a lot of that middle compound, that racing mediums being used, especially with the MR cars, the Ferrari, the Honda NSX, the Peugeot, and the Porsche 911. They know that the softs don't last at all on their cars.
No, that's right. They really do chip the tires. We saw that out at Monza, of course, as well, where the tires were really a big problem for the MRs. And all a little bit wide there from Aussie. So S2T, street to track, doing his thing. I believe he is a member over there, but driving for CP Motorsports at the moment. A little bit wiggly on the entrance to that. It's going to give the Porsche a really good run, although he's a bit close at the start of the straight. So that slipstream's not going to be particularly effective without a little bit of a bump draft, something we saw from Gopi Mahinajit, using his sim racing brain to execute a great overtake on then leader Luke Stone. Here we go for the close-up shot. You can see how close he is. Is he bump drafting? Well, he's close enough to do it. No, he's going to dive out to the inside. Here we go into the braking zone, and this is the key part. Will he be let on the brakes? He is. Looks like there might have been a little bit of netcode contact there. So a little bit of a laggy lobby that we have at the moment in this race. Whether or not it was playing a factor between Troy Britnell and the other driver involved, who someone will remind me, probably Nick, at some point. But yeah, that's certainly something that's plaguing this lobby at the moment. Let's have a little look around the grid, and still leading Booster Blake has started to build that gap now.
Yeah, there you go. So obviously just took a few corners. That soft tires really just trying to heat up, and him just trying to get the most of it that he can. He's definitely building about a 2-second lead over Joe Radinsky in position 2. Mark Hasel1 nowhere to be seen. Now he just approaches the back end of the Mulsanne straight, really just really just showing you the gaps amongst the field, up and down, the different strategies that we've got. But Booster Blake doing a really good job, just kind of running a very similar strategy to what his pro driver would be doing, running on the soft tires. Whether he will actually make the move to run on the hard tires at the end of this stint, well, time will tell at the end of lap 6. Mark Hasel1 in position 3 at the moment. This one of the 2 drivers in the Hasel1 Motorsport. Obviously, he was the only driver last time out at Monza, but he's actually got his teammate in Benjamin Blaker. That is the SM Cosmic driver right behind in position 10. So he's doing a good job. It's good to see him on track here at MotorMotion E-Series. He has been a former member of MotorMotion E-Series, so it's been a while between drinks, but he is back in season 3 for this GT3 championship. Very excited to see how he goes, see how he performs in the AM class, running 10th overall, but ahead of a couple of the AM drivers in Graham Splint in Blue Dog and Jack Finch, who would have had to have come into that pit lane, fixed his car up, engine damage, front splitter, rear wing, suspension. What else can you?
It's everything else.
What else can you pick from that car that just has all the damage?
The works, I think, is what we call that. In the dirt, in the works. I don't know. There's probably some phrase we can come up with, but certainly it's the entire car needed a repair because that was a violent accident that happened early on. For the AM class leader, it's not necessarily game over. He's still got a win to his name out from Monza, so still leading the championship, and a long way to go, as been alluded to a number of times. 10 rounds in this series, and we're currently only in the second part of this. So Le Mans, tricky place to go immediately after Monza. So the race organizers at MotorMotion E-Series, once again, I don't know if it's a sadistic trait or if it's just we want to see the action, we want to see the excitement. I suspect it's the latter, because we always get a great view here at the commentary box of what is going on. Benjamin Blaker making his way through the S's and now into that final chicane, followed by Gridline Racing, and there is Jack Finch right at the back, and a long way down. You can see the rest of the field separated by pretty much nothing out on track. That's usually typical in these early stages of the race, but Jack Finch, yeah, not having a great time. Let's see what he can do to try and bring this back. We know how quick he is. He's driving easily, in fact, up amongst the Pro-Am drivers. He had the pace to be right up there, forcing Hasel1 through the first part of this race, but he's got a lot of work to do. That is a solid 30 seconds that he's had in the pit stop to try and get the car done. The full work's being applied, and the engineers, I'm sure, not particularly happy with him. In terms of that 13 laps, well, I think, Gopi Behindajit needs to drive slower. I think that's a universally agreed fact. And that might have affected it, but we had 5 or 6 drivers there that were on that 13th lap, and that's what tripped up Luke Stone. That's what he did. So if we're seeing Booster Blake try and execute the same strategy here, he is leading the race, and there is no one ahead of him. That wasn't the case for Luke Stone, who spent, I think it was about 20 minutes or 25 minutes, in fact, of the race, basically stuck behind the leaders.
Yeah, so with Blake Williamson, just clear track. He's got a good gap over Expat. No threat at all from the drivers from third downwards, because they're exiting the first part of the chicane of the Mulsanne Straights. And yeah, he's now approaching the second half of the chicane at the end of in the middle of the Mulsanne Straights. So Blake Williamson, I feel like he can really put the foot down, really just try and bank in a few qualifying laps, try to preserve some fuel at the same time, just running that 6 lap maximum on the racing softs. But he's doing lap 3, and they actually got some decent wear on the cars. It's actually looking at around about 25% all around the front and the rear. So if we're doing the calculations here, 25%, and if we're looking around about towards lap 6, he'll still have enough tires and enough fuel to be able to get to lap 6 and comfortably get to lap 6 to maybe even think about running another set of softs, and then hopefully, if he gets his maths right and gets the timing right, with just over 4 minutes to go, come into the pit lane, throw on a set of hards, doesn't matter where you are, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it benefits you over the long term. But just giving you a bit of news as well, George, it is a double whammy for Lightning Motorsports, with Mitch Collin not actually participating in this lobby. Troy Britnell has disconnected from the lobby as well, so it's a double blow for Lightning Motorsports. The crash that he had with Jack Finch on lap 1 and Mitch Collins' DNS, unfortunately, it's a double whammy for that team.
Damn. All right, that's unfortunate for them for sure, but Lightning Motorsports will know that they'll bounce back from this, and whether it's an internet issue or a host lobby issue, as we all know, GT7 can be a little bit here and there with its connection for lobbies. So hopefully we do see that improve in round 3 for them. At the moment, yeah, look, hindsight's everything. But if I'm Boosted Blake, I'd be thinking about doing that 1 lap medium, 1 lap hard mandatory lap, maybe after this stint rather than right at the end. It's something that really becomes a bit of a secondary thought at the end of the day. But the drivers all know these tracks. They all know the GT7 engine very, very well. In a way, when you've got a timer that can only go to 3 minutes and you've got a lap that's 4 minutes long, you surely must be in the situation where you're thinking, I've got to make sure I get my mandatory out of the way immediately. Otherwise, you know, you run the risk of being in a situation, if you do that right at the end lap, and arguably it may well have been better for Luke Stone to do a 1 hard lap like we saw Lewis did. You know, got it out of the way right at the beginning, got into clean air, and then charged through the field. That might have been a better approach to it. So we do wonder if Boosted Blake is going to make a similar strategy call today.
Yeah, but then we're looking at those lap times there, 4-minute 2.4 versus a 4-minute 3.8. So obviously a lot faster than expat in Joe Radinsky in P2, but at the same time, it's not really the soft type pace that you want to be setting. You should be looking at around about a 4-minute lap, a 4:01 kind of lap time to be able to make a decent strategy work. But if the drivers here in Lobby B, obviously not trying to throw water, try not to throw dust in their eyes, but at the same time, it's about 13 laps is a task here for our drivers here. They have to really they really have to concentrate, really nail in their entry and exit points. No mistakes on the car. Keep it straight, keep it clean. Not get any half-second penalties. As we see Jeff Bruin run wide before the corner before Tetra Ruse after the Dunlop chicane, really struggling, and he goes wide on the exit of Tetra Rouge as well, so he's going to be definitely picking up a half-second penalty next to his name, a full second to his name rather. So that's just a double whammy from half-second to full second. But he's got the straight line advantage over Mark Hogan, so you'll see that GTR close in on the back of the Peugeot RCZ very quickly. But going back to the point of the strategies, look, if it's going to be a 12-lap race, if that's what we're projecting, I would actually go with your theory. You know, I would say run about 5 laps of qualifying pace, do 1 lap on the hards, and then, because then you've got the hard tires out of the way, throw the car back onto a set of softs and just go full send right up until the timer hits the 0 mark.
I don't see why not. I mean, certainly my approach to things, and I'm not, big disclaimer here, I am not a very good racing driver, certainly a worse strategist than I am a driver, that is for sure. But my usual temptation, whoa, as Jeff just absolutely outbrakes himself, although I'd have to say Mark Hogan was extremely slow into the chicane Michelin. Very scary moment there for Jeff Bruin. Mark Hogan saw a torpedo flying at him in his rear vision mirror. Luckily, no contact from what we could tell between the two drivers, so that won't have affected anything, as we do see Hogan having picked up a 0.5-second penalty. So at the moment, the battle for 5th, defined by penalties and under or over braking into corners. Nice tight line for Jeff. But yeah, scary moments there for the AM class driver in Mark Hogan. Of course, Jeff will be flying up behind him, Pro-Am class. Of course, we know he's got pace. Let's just see. Regardless, I think you're better to get your mandatories out of the way quickly.
Actually, incidentally, Mark Hogan is the leader of the AM class. So while we're actually looking at Jack Finch being a potential victor here in this lobby, it's actually Mark Hogan that's actually inherited the race lead for the AM division, because we've got Blake Williamson P1, Joe Radinsky P2, Mark Hasel1, Marcelo Berton in P4 for Black Rose Racing, then Jeff Bruins. So the top 5 are your Pro-Am drivers, and we have Mark Hogan, the leader in the 97 in the AM class. So incidentally, a very solid job there, and you know, flying under the radar so far in the Peugeot ICZ. But they're both drivers serving their half-second penalties. Jeff Bruin had to serve a full-second penalty, so that gives Mark Hogan back P5, and Jeff Bruin a little bit of a slower, what we would say is a very slow penalty burn zone there. 1 second feels like an eternity for that, but he just gets back underneath that rear wing very well, back onto the back of the 97. So it's a very long race here. Lap 4, we're coming up towards lap 5. The sun is about to come up as well, so the track conditions and the track climate of the tarmac is going to be depending on some of what the drivers do, because you can see those soft tires, they are burning up like crazy. So Jeff Bruin, those fronts are absolutely gone. Drivers were getting to about lap 6 in lobby A, but Jeff Bruin is not even going to make 5, I don't think, with considering that tire wear that he's got on the car. He's really struggling with the fronts on his Nissan.
Pushing very hard at this early stage of the race, and I think he knows that he needed to do that. Qualified, of course, 9th position. So not the qualifying that he won. He was plenty off the pace, but in terms of the strategy, it can bring you back in. I think, you know, the soft tires, they're going to probably take a little longer every tire will take a little longer in these early sunrise conditions to get up to the heat that they need to be at. But once you're there, you can really abuse the soft tires, and maybe it doesn't matter for him. Maybe he's not looking to extend the stint. Was something that came up a lot in Group A. They were fuel saving, trying to get to I think it was the 7th lap on their hard tires to try and eke out that fuel, I mean, the tires won't matter on hards, but you need to eke out the fuel quite substantially. And maybe Jeff will feel comfortable on really low grip soft tires. It's entirely possible at this stage of the race. The question's going to be, you know, when you get to that sunrise coming up, when the track starts to heat up, you probably at that point would rather get onto a cold set of hards, because then at least you don't have to worry about them disappearing too much. I can imagine, as we do see the overtake. Too deep, though, for Jeff Bruin. Got a little bit excited on that one. And, of course, he'll have to redress that position. Overtaking off track, not allowed at MotorMotion E-Series. And he'll try again for what seems like the 4th or 5th time, but about the 3rd time he's attempted to get past our M-Class League and Mark Hogan. I think I'd rather, when the sun comes up, I'd rather be starting on a hard tyre at that point. So maybe that's the cut-off point there, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just saw that braking performance. We saw Jeff Bruin have really strong brakes on his car back at Monza, but I feel like his brakes are fading quite a fair bit. He's just missing his corners, braking a little bit too deep, getting a little bit flustered with that GTR's front tyre wear on both the left and the right-hand side of his car. So not really able to get to grips with his soft tyres as they degrade very quickly. But yes, for my strategy for my race, I just initially felt that it is coming into that early morning sunrise stage of this around here at Le Mans. But at the same time, it was just more about just getting that tire out of the way. They would heat up generally, yes. You're looking at I was looking at a 4:03, a low 4-minute 3-second lap, almost into the 4-minute 2s. So the pace does get better, but just with that fuel saving that you can actually do, it really helps you out so much at the end of this race, because it is a long circuit. And as well, the pit transit time, and something that was mentioned in the lobby A broadcast, is that the pit transit time is so long around here that the cutoff, the cut screen to go into pit entry, then into your pit booth, and then changing the tires, and then putting the fuel in, and then exiting the pit lane, it's well over 35-40 seconds. So it is a very long period of time. So that fuel saving that you can do, you can save 3, 4, 5 seconds of fuel saving. It actually helps you get better track position, as we saw with some of the drivers in the back of the field. As we see a loose Porsche at the back there of Legendary Berry just go really squirrely on the exit of Arnage. But it's all about that fuel saving. I definitely feel, in my personal opinion, for a track that is long and has a really long pit transit time, fuel economy is the #1 priority over tires.
Yeah, I generally agree. And you've got it. Oh, that is a big impact with the wall for Mark Hogan. Absolutely massive. So let's see. Has he picked up any damage from that? He has. He's completely buckled the right-hand side of the car. Front bumper damage as well. So not a great situation for Mark Hogan. He's not really in a AM class fight right now. Obviously wants to stick with Jeff Bruin as much as possible. There's a 0.5 second penalty, the cherry on top. He'll happily carry this damage for a little while. We'll do a full standings grid review in a few moments time, but certainly when you've got a track with such a high average velocity around the circuit, I mean, we're talking probably the highest out of the entire season here, probably well past 200 kilometers an hour average, maybe even creeping towards 230 to 240 even. Just given the amount of high average speed, you don't want to be sitting in the pit lane. You do not want to be, because everyone else is moving relatively to you, moving a lot faster. Go to Brands Hatch, not a problem. Don't worry about it. Pit as much as you like. Not going to be an issue because the relative velocity is significantly lower than at Le Mans. Right, let's go around the entire grid as we do see Mark Hogan continue to now tiptoe around the circuit. He'll be overtaken on the straight by Jeff Bruin in first place with very dead tires, but still with a great gap back to Joe Rudinsky. It is Boosted Blake for Hooncorp Esports with the fastest lap as well. Very nice rounded number there, 402.4 flat. Then it is Joe Rudinsky in second, still on the medium tire. Fuel looking okay at the moment. Best personal lap just set on lap 5. Then it is Mark Hasel1 on the racing medium tire. Helicopter overhead as he heads into the first chicane section. Great place to go racing. He's being chased down, though, by Calculated Risk, who's on the racing hard tires, so there must be a crossover happening. We'll return to that battle in a few moments' time. Jeff Bruin, of course, has made it past. No surprise there, but the tires are looking... Oh, my goodness. Well, we'll return to that as well.
He's going to make it.
I don't think he's going to make it. Pops tire territory here for Jeff Bruin. Yeah, might want to be coming into the pit lane at the end of lap 6. Mark Hogan in 7th. Who is leading AM class, and it is Robinson for Aster Racing, currently behind his AM class teammate in Pro Am. Then it is legendary Berry, who is fighting for the top spot today. He's got damage too, so Porsches, ooh, dear oh dear, not having a good time out there. 8th position for him, holding the damage and also a penalty. Wow, getting some deja vu here. In the Pro-Am in 9th position, it is Aussie GTR, had a few scrapes with the barrier throughout the first stint. Then behind him it is Blue Dog, so number 6 on the racing hard tyre. Clean race so far in the AM class in 10th place, and it is Ben Blaker for Hasel1. Don't remember us seeing him at Monza as he has a little bit of a moment sideways. They don't want to be running the barrier with these cars as low as they do get at Le Mans. In 11th place, and it is Jack Finch, of course, in behind. He has made progress, I think, but probably not nearly as much as he's going to need to make. I think this is all going to come down to long-term strategy here. Oh, no, he's running wide. Oh, dear. I think he might be a little bit distracted from what happened to him earlier. I'd certainly be shaken up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I feel like he's just using this time just to test. I feel like this is just a little bit of a free testing period for Jack Finch, just really just trying to learn about the car, learn the characteristics, learning how to actually drive it competitively enough. Obviously, he did win the AM class last time out at Monza, but at the same time, it's just more about him, just getting some more data analysis for himself and to be able to get confidence. But right, we've got Marcel Averton and Mark Hasel1. A bit of a bump draft going into the Porsche curves, into the entry of the Porsche curves. A very interesting move there by Calculator Risk of why he would be doing such a thing. Obviously running on the hard tires versus Mark Hasel1 on the racing mediums. Runs it a little bit nice and tight. Does Mark Hasel1 gets a much better entry and exit, does the Porsche. This is where the Porsche really, really comes to it in its own. Through the Porsche curves, at the exit of the Porsche curves, through the Corvette curves as well. Mark Hasel1 really being right on the ragged edge of that BMW, being off the track limits there. Goes defensive, going to the Porsche curves. What happens here? Will he be able to outbrake him? Going to the fortune chicane, no he doesn't, but he goes too deep there, and that is Mark Hasel1 demoted down to P4. So the pressure from Calculated Risk, getting all those calculations right, and up into P3 in the Pro-Am class, putting Mark Hasel1 back into P4. That is a demotion right there for the Hasel1 driver, but some great battles with that Porsche on rails.
Certainly is. We're seeing a few pit stops come through. We're just going to mute on stream just for a moment's time. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. So while we sort out a small technical issue in the background, in the meantime, enjoy the MR nature of the Porsche as they fly through the first sector. All right, we are back, and we think we've sorted out the technical issues. We'll continue to monitor as we go through. Let us know in chat if you're picking up any issues with our audio. Right, Hasel1 will have the pit. We've seen a flurry of pit activity so far. That means that Joe Rudinsky has now retained the lead of the race. And we did see Booster Blake come in. He's now spat himself out. Where is he? He is here on the racing soft tyres. So he's going soft, Nick. It's a bold strategy. See if it works out for him.
It's bold indeed. He's doing the Luke Stone strategy here. Just double soft and a hard finish. Hopefully he gets the timing right, because we've got about 23 minutes now till the end of this race. It's going to be tight. It's just qualifying. He just needs to do qualifying laps. 4-minute ones, 4 flats. You know, get those laps in, and then throw on a hard tire, and then do your absolute best to try and get that P1 back. Because I feel like at the moment, Expat on the racing mediums is doing a really nice job. His next stint will definitely be a hard tire stint, so he's in the box seat to complete his mandatory requirements, while Booster Blake Williamson on the teething edge of what could be a reminiscence of Lobby A with Luke Stone.
Yeah, indeed. Is it ironic that the faster he goes, the more in jeopardy he is for getting onto the 13th lap? So building the jeopardy, and we'll see what happens at the end of this race. Jeff Bruin has moved on to the hard tyres, full tank of fuel for him as he heads through the Michelin chicane. On he goes, and looks like he is happy to be back onto those fresh tyres. He has cleared Hogan by a significant amount. Hogan has repaired the damage. That is the reason why there is such a difference there. He's gone onto the medium tyres, so he's gone hard to mediums. Jeff Bruin has gone soft to hards, and then behind there we can see Legendary Berry and Robinson now in a bit of a scrap here, but it is Legendary Berry in second place in AM class and trying to fight back against Mark Hogan, and that damage has brought Legendary Berry right back into contention. However, Robinson can spoil the party here a little bit. He can get involved in this and either hold up Legendary Berry, or certainly help to push Mark Hogan along. Crikey, that's a scary moment for both of them. It's not an easy corner, that.
No, absolutely not. And it could be a good result here for Black Rose Racing, with Calculated Risk sitting P2 in class in the Pro-Am, as well as Legendary Berry P2 in class, with a potential of a victory in the AM class. So he's right up there. Richard Robertson right behind there. Both drivers went wide on the exit of the Mulsanne corner at the end of the Mulsanne straight. So luckily, none of them actually picked up a half-second penalty. So they're cleared, done and dusted.
Ooh.
But it's just a thing. Is he just late on the brakes? They've thought about it. Pushes a Porsche onto the gravel at Indianapolis, and then through Arnage, just actually has to redress and actually drops back from the advantages that he gained on Mark Hogan. But I just feel like as well, like it's always a driver's mentality as well, George. It doesn't matter what title you have next to your name, Pro-Am, Am, Elites, or Pro. You're racing for position. This kind of feels like an ordinary GT7 lobby, where you're actually racing for track position, and you're not really thinking about where you finish in class. Because yes, you might be finishing P2, a great achievement for your team and great valuable points for your team. But I feel like it's just about bragging rights, where you actually finish on track. If you can finish ahead of a Pro-Am driver in this race, you know, that's a few points going next to you, and a few extra bonus points going next to your name. So this is going to really help Legendary Berry if you can keep Richard Robertson right behind and the rest of the field.
Oh yeah, there's always a bit of glory there. Certainly no ordinary race here though at MotorMotion E-Series. Get involved, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this and you're like, wow, this is great racing. Definitely better than the standard daily races happening on the Gran Turismo online multiplayer mode. That is for absolutely sure. I'm sure that wasn't the implication from you then, Nick. Just an ordinary daily race happening here. No, certainly not. But point well taken. Whenever you finish up above the category above you, it's just a bit of bragging rights. Hey, Mr. Jeff Bruin, do you really feel that you're Pro-Am? You got beaten by a couple of AM drivers last time out at Monza. I'm sure he'll appreciate that comment. Nonetheless, we'll continue to go around the grid and find out where everyone is filtered out. Behind them, Mark Hasel1 is in a three-way battle for 8th place currently. That'll sort itself out as we did see Joe Rudinsky jump into the pits and get off those medium tyres. We'll have a little look at what tyre he has chosen in a few moments' time. But out and out here from Hasel1, critical because he has got CP Motorsports right in behind, and that Ferrari is so quick onto the straight.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quick going onto the straight, but then he just needs to tuck underneath that rear wing of the BMW. You can just see that he's reading the part number of that BMW M6. Just he's right tucked underneath there, and he's got Blue Dog right behind him. So just giving a little bit of a pump, a little bit of a push and shove for the 197 on Hasel1's car number 16. He's actually got Graham Splint right behind as well. So whether this is actually going to help Hayden Jones actually build that gap on Graham Splint in the car number 6. I'm not so sure if it's a wise strategy there, because he actually loses out on that first part of the chicane there, and he loses all that time to Mark Hasseldean. And here comes Graham Splint with the very fast GDR. See what he can do as he gets to the second chicane here at the Mulsanne straight. What does he do? Does he bump draft? No, he says, I'm not doing your strategy. I'm going to pull out. Car number 6 on the inside line of going into the second chicane. Can he get the braking performance on that GTR and pass the 197 into the braking zone? They go clear as day, and that's Graham Splint up into position 9. The AM class driver, P3 overall. So a great result here. Could be a great result here for Graham Splint, 3rd in class, but a position ahead of Hayden Jones in Aussie GDR.
I think this is evident of the dark side or the Jedi side, isn't it? You know, do you work with the other drivers out there, or do you let your anger consume you? Much hate I feel in this GTR today, as it decides to do the overtake instead of helping out. But at the same time, you've got to be a bit selfish on track, and you have to be selfish in terms of your strategy, especially when you're on the soft tires, which is exactly where Graham Splint finds him. He's got to be on the dark side of the force at the moment. If he's not, he's going to be just sitting there wasting these tires.
Yeah, and at the same time, this is a 50-minute race. We're not looking at around about a 2-3 hour race where you actually be playing that team game, just finding a buddy, finding a partner, and just bum drafting yourself down the Mulsanne straight, and even going into Indianapolis, where the drivers are coming into right now with Blue Dog behind Mark Hasseldean. It's a short race. It's a short, fast race. Now just gets the braking performance there on the GDR. Very strong braking performances there just to avoid an accident. And he's looking to try and stick the nose around the outside of the BMW, going into Arnage, thinks better of it. Very, very tight entry and exit is that corner. As you can see as well, Legendary Barry just had to serve a half-second penalty, drops behind Richard Robinson, and now finally that releases the Aster Racing Peugeot RCZ up into position 6, Legendary Barry down in P7. So it just feels like at the same time, it is a short, fast race. Strategies galore around here, different strategy options for the drivers, but at the same time, this is not really the endurance style kind of race, George. This is just short, fast, get your positions done. Teamwork with another driver is very, very hard to come by here in these shorter races.
Yeah, that's right. It's a sprint race, essentially at an endurance track. That is the way that this is all configured at the moment, and these straights in the slipstream certainly providing a lot of options for the teams. You know, if you get yourself in a nice slipstream, you can actually make it work to your advantage over the strategy, save a little bit of fuel. Not the best last couple of chicanes there for Mark Hasseldean. Graham Splint will have him on the exit. Through he goes. Racing hard tires versus racing soft. Really should be no competition there whatsoever. I keep getting these moments of when they go into Indianapolis, you fly to the right hand side at 260 kilometers an hour and you slam on the brakes while all your transverse momentum gets transferred onto the left hand tires. It is absolutely terrifying. We've all been there. We've all driven this track many countless laps, as we do see Hasseldean having another little issue on the exit of the second chicane, and there's now a very lively Ferrari behind him wanting to get past. But Indianapolis in particular, that transverse velocity you're trying to bleed off essentially as you slam onto the left-hand tires and then into the braking zone, then you're back onto the right-hand side tires. It is just so difficult to get right. The kitty litter, the gravel, is right there on the outside to catch you if something goes wrong, and it does more often than not, at least from my experience. When I dive into there, I usually got a rear end stepping out on me. So very uncomfortable place in this track, and surrounded by lulls of activity where you just get to sit there like they are right now, just foot to the floor. You've got nothing to do. Twiddle your thumbs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, figure out your taxes.
Yeah, exactly. No, but you throw on a soft tire and a low fuel tank, as we most of us did during our qualifying parts. During our qualifying, you can actually take that corner almost and potentially flat out. Or you just do a little bit of a slight turn of the steering wheel, make sure the car grips up. You can actually cut quite a fair bit of Indianapolis. You can actually go over that curving on the right hand side, keep a foot flat down to the pedals. flat to the floor, as we saw a brief yellow flag up ahead there. Is that potentially for Jeff Bruin up there? Looks like he's made a mistake.
Think it was.
5.2 is his 5.2 is his sector time, so that's definitely a mistake on Jeff Bruin's side. Maybe just gone too deep on the brakes again. So the braking performances that he's having through these chicanes is not strong at all. He's lost 5.2 in that sector coming on the exit of the second chicane. So at the same time, he's holding on to position 5. He's running 4th in class. Richard Robertson is a potential threat to that position 4 in the AM class. So hopefully for Jeff's sake, he'll be able to keep that position or try to maintain that position as best as possible. But hard tyres, and I think Richard Robertson is running on racing softs.
Mediums.
As well.
And actually, I think what's happened there, look, I thought Jeff was actually ahead of Mark Hogan. So I think he's had a monumental spin there, as you rightly pointed out. But I think it has actually cost him a position. I don't think Hogan, because we had essentially Hogan, Robinson, and Berry all running essentially together on track. Bruin has now entered the fold here, and he was almost certainly ahead. So whatever's happened to him in that braking or acceleration zone in the chicane between the main parts of the straight, it has massively affected him, and he's lost a lot of time as a result. Legendary Berry serving a penalty that'll bring Graham Splint into the picture here. This is the battle for second place in the AM class. Here we go. Softs versus hards. Anyone want to take a guess? Pundits might be putting a pretty low odds on this one, though.
Depending as where he gets the move done to get it into the entry of the Porsche, curves, throws the car the inside, thinks better of it. Graham Splint, that would have been a very, very ambitious move. Could have definitely been done there. The softs versus the hard tyres, a grip advantage on that GDR versus the Porsche 911. Just really struggling through this sequence of corners there. The Porsche are strong through the Porsche curves and on the exit of the Corvette curve as well. But at the same time, the GDR just got the grip advantage there. Let's see what the car behavior is like when it comes through the Ford chicane here. Let's see if we can go on board with the man in Blue Dog right in position 8, chasing Legendary Berry as he executes the Ford chicane there. Whoa, that's a huge advantage that he got through there. Went flying through the Ford chicanes there. He's now back off the rear wing of that Black Rose Racing entry. My goodness, how committed was Blue Dog through that corner?
Oh, so committed. Now the track widens out. He'll launch it down the outside line. Interesting choice, but a defensive maneuver there from the Porsche driver. Has he outbraked himself? No, he hasn't. So actually, that's a really nice defense for Legendary Berry. Gets a little bit loose on the exit, but nothing that Blue Dog can do at all to sort of recapture the moment of glory he had at the final chicane, where he absolutely flew through there. Just basically ignored the sausage curb, doesn't exist on the exit there at all, and just flew right on through it and just hoped that the grip was there. So he's going hammer and tong right now. He needs to, because he doesn't want to be held up here. This is going to be his opportunity. He will get past, although he might have to do a little bit of bump draft. He might see another Gopi Mahinderjit move. Nope, side draft it is. And GDR puts the power down. Oh, guys, be careful, be careful. These are sensitive machines here, as we see Legendary Berry wants to tuck back into the slipstream and nearly makes contact with the rear wing, and there will be a little bit of bump drafting towards the end here. Is it going to be a defensive send up the inside? This is great battle here. AM class second place, now held by Graham Splint. He has done fantastic work, and guess what? It is only 2 more cars up ahead. And then you've got Mark Hogan, who is leading AM class and not actually that far up the road on the same technically same bit of tarmac on this back straight. There's an opportunity here for Blue Dog, but I'm trying to remember here, Nick, maybe you recall Graham Splint has yet to do the hard tyre stint.
Yeah, that is quite an interesting strategy. You know, you've got my mind blank as well. I'm not so sure. I feel like we've caught ourselves out here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the great vibes that we have here in the commentary room between myself and George Cook. But I feel like he's actually, from memory, I feel like he has done it. I mean, I don't want to second guess myself. Yeah. And then praise Graham Splint as a hero of running the strategy here, running. Well, let's look at the time in class.
Let's look at the lap times here, because that's first stint before that 4:42, 4:07. That's surely hard tyre territory.
I'm sure it has to be as well. So I feel like he has done that.
Sorry, interruption here. Jeff Bruin has had another issue. Yes, he has. Jeff Bruin has gone off at the... Oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's Mulsanne. Yes, it is Mulsanne.
Yep.
Jeff Bruin having another shocker here with only 9 minutes to go. He's dropped another few positions after having made up from P9 to P4. He is now back to P8 in this race on the hard tire, trying to get to that second stint. Or maybe to the end of this race. Yeah, in fact, actually to the end of this race. He's lost it all. Every single bit of hard work that he has put in, it is gone.
This is just Monza all over again for Jeff Bruin. Like, you know, we saw the great performance that he had at Monza early on in that race, and even now through at Circuit de la Sarthe, he's been putting on a great performance in the early stages, but just fades towards the end of his stint here. So it's definitely not what he's been wanting so far to start his GT3 campaign. Obviously, we've got 41 minutes 45 seconds completed, so just over 8 minutes to go to the just over 8 minutes to go to the end of this race. But it just seems to not be getting to grips with this hard tire. He hasn't been able to switch them on whatsoever, so he's really struggling on those hard tires down to P8. And if I'm looking at my calculations right, we're looking at around about P5 in class, but he's got 3 drivers from the AM class outscoring him. So that's more points for the AM drivers, whilst the driver in the Pro-Am is, I don't know, what can you say? He could just kind of maybe just underprepared for this race, you would think? Maybe just not having that performance that he would like to have. Kind of feels like a little bit this been going on for Jeff Bruin. Obviously, great performance at Monza at the beginning of the race. Great performance, great start here at Le Mans, but just fades so quickly.
Yeah, it is one of those things. We did hear from Jeff Bruin when it came to round 1. He didn't have time to prepare at all. So it did end up in a situation where he said, well, look, you know, at the end of the day, if you don't prepare, well, you're not going to have the tools at your disposal, the strategy information to understand where you're going to end up in a race like this. You know, to quote a man who whispers at tires, it's a thinking man's game here at MotorMotion E-Series. You do have to do the time to prepare for these races. If you don't do that, you are going to suffer through these races, and even small little inconsistencies, the little mistakes there start to build up, and then you may not have the knowledge or the information to adjust as well. So tricky one. And I know that we all know that Jeff is the league administrator for the GT3 championship at MotorMotion E-Series, so he's got a lot on his plate already. Then of course, you know, personal life and professional life all going on at the same time. It's not easy to find the time to really properly prepare every single week in, week out, so we completely understand. But yeah, certainly a couple of initial rounds, first couple of weeks to forget there for Jeff Bruin. Let's take a little look at our top 3, Nick, because Pro-Am class is very well separated at the moment, but we've got Booster Blake on the alternative strategy. Has the fastest lap still to his name, but has done 2 soft stints, needs to come in relatively soon, I would say, if not this lap, to do that hard stint. Expat on the hards right now, running 404s on that previous lap, with calculator risk picking up penalty after penalty, as we saw. We were on board with him while discussing Jeff Bruin's probably eventual disappointment with his race today, but 1 second of penalties to his name. Not going to bring him back in range of Mark Hogan, and Mark Hogan's pretty solid at the moment, though he still does have Blue Dog charging after him and good to the end of the race. Fuel issue as well for Mark Hogan. So there is still a battle on for AM class lead at the moment, as the top 3 spread out and running their own races at the moment. The question is going to be, when does Blake pit? Does he do it now? I'd say you might as well.
He has to do it now. Yeah, he has to. We're coming up to about 45 minutes into this race, so 5 minutes to go. So if he wants to play this smart and not do the Luke Stone strategy, you've got to pit right now. So just play it safe, keep it simple, get that 747 into P2, because he's got a great gap over calculator risk in P3. So he can just slot in behind Expat, just concede the victory to the Mad Turtle Racing Mercedes AMG. Not trying to brag here, by the way, George.
Yes.
But at the same time, needs to come in as he does right now. The sensible move, wise strategy there will give Joe Rudinsky the lead of the race there.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. The pro driver at Mad Turtle Racing saying, just concede to Mad Turtle Racing. Just concede, guys. Don't worry about it. Don't think twice. Just concede. You're all good to go. And then, yes, the Luke Stone strategy, which is unfortunately now leave the mandatory tire lap to
forever remembered.
It will be. It's sort of like the 0.5 Scotties The Scotty penalties, the 0.5s that lose you a championship. Unfortunately, these things are becoming gospel here in the commentary box and to the wider public as well. But the Luke Stone strategy: do your mandatory lap on your mandatory tyre, pass the race distance, and then get unfortunately disqualified completely. We shouldn't laugh at all. It is really disheartening, actually, for Luke Stone and the stewards. It was a difficult decision for them at the end of the day. The letter of the law did stand in that case, but it is what it is. These are the quirks of GT7, and I think it's one of those things where you inevitably have to think a little bit about preparing for those outlying strategy calls, but sometimes it is just what it is. Right, Expat jumping into the lead on the hard tyres. Is on now essentially the last lap of this race. Actually, I'm not 100% sure.
He might get one more.
I think he might get a 13th lap here, but it's not going to be enough to finish the race on, because he will be past the 3-minute timer. We'll keep an eye on that one. I don't think anyone else is in jeopardy. Booster Blake now doing his lap, and the out lap will count, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it does. That's correct.
Yeah.
So he will be able to complete this one racing lap in that 747, be able to fulfill the mandatory requirements of the racing hards. But yeah, just slotting into a nice perfect gap there in P2. Clear air in front, clear air behind, no risk at all from calculator risk in P3. So it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 for the pro class. Actually, we can see Mark Hogan down in P6 has actually dropped behind Blue Dog. So something's happened. Whilst we've been watching Boosted Blake in this championship, in this again during this pit stop sequences, he's made a 4-minute 15 lap time on lap 11. So big costly mistake there, which not only demotes him down to P6 in the overall leads, but loses P1 in the AM class to Graham Splint.
Wow.
So Graham Splint now on the final lap here, ladies and gentlemen, leads the AM class. What a crazy scene here for the Gridline Racing team. Gopin Mahendrijet wins the elite class. Graham Splint is now going to be a potential winner here in this AM class.
We have had 3 different leaders in AM class today. We had 4 different leaders in Group A elite category. Now in the AM class, trying to replicate their elite counterparts. And Graham Splint, I mean, out of almost nowhere, has come on through the field based on, in some cases, some mistakes from other drivers. Certainly Mark Hogan has had an issue somewhere through the track on the medium tyres. He is on relatively low fuel. I thought it might have been, he would have got caught up because he had, actually, I think I know what he's done there. He was on very low fuel. I wonder if Mark Hogan has done a splash and dash at the end of this race. I think that might actually be the case, because he has no damage, and you'd think at this stage of the race that a mistake is going to be quite difficult to recover from. So that might well be the case, as Legendary Berry in 3rd in AM class picks up a penalty. No AM class drivers there to pick up the pieces from that one. Jeff Bruin going to be trying to make an overtake, but he's under a lot of pressure and might even lose this 5th place spot in the Pro-Am category to Mark Hasel1, who's on a charge. And there, oh my goodness, no, it is Blue. Oh, Jeff on the brakes, and guess what? Graham Splint has had an issue. He's driven off the track.
Oh no!
Mark picked up damage. So Mark Hogan back into the lead of AM class again, and now we've got Legendary Berry with a penalty. Mark Hasel1 has overtaken Jeff Bruin, who finds himself back in his qualifying position. No damage on the car, but that's going to be another disappointment in the list of disappointments at Le Mans for him. Graham Splint. Sorry, I'm still trying to collect my thoughts on this. Graham Splint has had a huge error and given up what was essentially, I don't want to say this too lightly, but an easy victory in AM class for Gridline Racing, and himself has put himself in jeopardy. He's got another couple of corners to go. They will finish the race on lap 12 as we just jump back up. Will there be an extra lap? Yes, there will be by 7 seconds. Expat, slow down, mate. You had time to finish the race. You could have sat there at the checkered flag. You will do one more. In fact, you will get cut off, but the victory is yours. And 2nd place will go to Booster Blake, who has missed a couple of apexes there. Very close to calculator risk, who's come across the line with 0 fuel on board. Hold on. Oh, it's going to be close at the end, but there you go. 2nd and 3rd to those guys. Robinson will pick up 4th position in the overall and in the Pro-Am. And Mark Hogan and Graham Splint, it's on them to the end of this race. Couple of quarters to go. Mark Hogan needs to not make a mistake here. The pressure is building, sweat dripping down his face, through his visor, and whatever else he is going through right now. I'm sure a stressful situation. 1 quarter to go after this one. Keep it together. The GTR is looking rather fast through here. We know how quick he was, but it's not going to be enough. And that is going to be Mark Hogan winning AM class from the jaws of defeat, or from the jaws of victory. He grasped defeat.
Legendary Berry ahead of Blue Dog. He got him on the line.
Oh my goodness, he got him on the line. Oh my
I just caught it
goodness.
on the back of the, sorry to cut you off there, George, but I caught him at the back going through the Ford chicane there. Graham Splint jumped over the sausage curbs. He ran wide on the final chicane, and Legendary Berry absolutely out of nowhere pulls off a worldy move there on Graham Splint.
Unbelievable.
On the final lap. Wow, to steal P2 away.
That's fantastic work. Well, that was as spicy as we like it. You know, maximum Indian hot. Let's just have a little look down the back of the field here. Bruin finishes in 10th. Finch comes across the line with a really large penalty to his name. And then Ben Blaker has clearly had an issue late in this race. He will finish out the grid, and we'll head over to our results screen now. Oh, spicy as you like it, ladies and gentlemen. Group B. Just action right to the end. 1/13th lap finisher. Expat does get to the 13th lap by 7 seconds, so does finish P1. Let's bring up our Pro-Am results. Joe Rudinsky, that is Expat. Mad Turtle Racing, and he takes another win to his name. Blake Williamson in P2 for Hooncorp Esports. Great job by Booster Blake today. Had an opportunity for P1, but I think that soft strategy kind of cost him a little bit. Marcel Albertin for Black Rose Racing rounds out our podium for Pro-Am. Then it's Richard Robinson for Aster Racing, 4th overall, 4th in the Pro-Am. Then Mark Hasel1 ahead of Jeff Bruin, a late overtake there as Jeff made a number of mistakes, especially towards the end of this race, that really cost him. Could have been up there in 4th place today with a few more points to his name, but 20 being taken home for Gridline Racing, still very good. 7th for Hayden Jones at CP Motorsports, and of course Mitchell Collin not on the grid today in Pro-Am. In AM class, spicy red hot AM class, Mark Hogan, what a race he's had. From the jaws, what was I going to say? I was going to say from the jaws of victory, he clasped defeat, and then suddenly he clasped victory from the jaws of defeat again. So whatever happened there, it was quite wild at the end. We'll try and recount exactly what happened, but Chip Berry finding that second place on the last moment, the last corner, as Graham Splint ran wide, and for Graham Splint, it really was a clasping defeat from the jaws of victory today. Still a decent amount of points, of course, for Graham Splint. Jack Finch with that monumental accident at 280 into the first chicane down the first straight in stint 1. Coming together with Troy Britnell and having a massive accident. Not able to recruit much, but did finish ahead of Ben Blaker for Hasel1 Motorsport in 5th. Troy Britnell disconnecting from the race, clearly had some sort of latency or network issue today, and he didn't want to be a danger out there on track, so Troy Britnell doing the right thing and deciding to DNF today. So not the day for Lightning Motorsport at all. Blake Durston for CP Motorsports, DNS, and Bob Massey, who we hope to see back for the next race. Right, Nick, have you had a chance to take a few deep breaths on this one?
I think not just a few deep breaths. I just needed a couple more coffees after that, because my goodness, what a conclusion to the AM class division. Mark Hogan right behind Graham Splint, and then all of a sudden we see Graham Splint down in the gravel trap at the exit of the Mulsanne corner. Mark Hogan passes through. Then Chip Berry from out of nowhere after a deep break move into the Ford chicane for Graham Splint, just takes it on the line there. So well done to Black Rose Racing. Some solid performances from those Porsches in the Black Rose Racing camp. Struggled in the Elite and Pro class in Lobby A, but Lobby B in Group B, Chip Berry and Marcel Albertin doing a really great job for Black Rose Racing.
Certainly did. And now we have to talk a little bit about driver of the day. Let us know in chat who your driver of the day is. Of course, watching here on Trackspot TV YouTube and the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube Round 2. Now complete for both Group A and Group B. I don't know where to even begin, if I'm completely honest with you. Joe Rudinsky, great performance. Blake Williamson, great performance. Marcel Albertin, great performance at the end of the day. And then some absolutely disastrous ones down the grid in Pro-Am. AM class, I don't even know if we can give it to Mark Hogan, because he had victory. threw it away, and then somehow came back as a result of some mistakes. So can you even give it to them? Really, at the end of the day, I'm not 100% sure. So I don't know really where to put my finger in terms of driver of the day today. I think, you know, Marcel Albertin, I think probably the cleanest race out of the grid.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't want to be biased to Joe. Obviously, he's done a solid job in the Mad Turtle Racing, running that medium and hard strategy. So it was just a clean race for him. Blake Williamson, as well, trying to emulate what Luke Stone's strategy, as well as Lewis Atkinson's, but just a different reverse. Obviously, Lewis starting on the hards and doing a double soft at the end. So I have to agree with you. I'm very torn of who can actually be driver of the day. So I feel like, for me, I feel like, you know, if I'm not going to give it to Joe, I feel like I might give it to Robbo in Richard Robinson for Aster Racing. You know, clean race. He struggled a lot back at Monza. Just hasn't really been on the game as much. Obviously, just trying to come to grips with the Peugeot RCZ. But I feel like P4 overall in a grid like this, I feel like it's a good result for Aster Racing to get 4th and P1 in their respective class, whilst the drivers in the Lobby A really struggled with Nick Pfaff and Matthew Johnson. I feel like those two have been putting on a great performance there. But Richard Robinson, great performance to seal P4 and to get away from all of that carnage. They're making a few good overtakes on Mark Hasseltine, Jeff Bruin, and some of the AM drivers. So I feel like my drive of the day is going to go to Richard Robinson.
Okay, help us split the difference, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll get to the standings. I think we did have the Pro and the Elite called out. We'll call out all of it just to make sure everyone's up to date. So in the AM title, that puts Mark Hogan up to a 2-point gain above Jack Finch, so 66 points for Mark Hogan. Then Jack Finch in P2 on 64 points. Chip Berry on the back of a good result today, 58 points, and Graham Splint, 51 points. So 5th place goes to Troy Britnell. And then is Bob Massey in 6th place, Ben Blake a 7th and 8th. Blake Durston in the Pro-Am title. It is Joe Rudinsky now on 70 points, a 10-point gap here with 2 wins to his name. So what a result from that man at Mad Turtle Racing. Blake Williamson in P2 for Hooncorp on 60 points. Marcel Albertin in 3rd place on 52 points. Close, though, to Mark Hasseltine and Richard Robinson, only a smattering of points behind them, and technically equal last, but equal second to last for Jeff Bruin and Hayden Jones on 40 points, and Mitch Collins still yet to gain points. The season pro title was Glenn Mead, Luke Stone, McCallum, not separated by much there. And then elite category, of course, Scope and Mahinajit on a similar dominant streak as we're seeing with Joe Rudinsky, 70 points, Lewis Atkinson 60, and Nick Pautessa, you're on 50 points, mate. So going quite well in the elite category there, 3rd overall. In the team's title, though, the end of round 2, it looks like this. P1, Hooncorp Esports by 1 point on 200 points. Followed by Mad Turtle Racing on 199, Gridline in 3rd on 182. So it's a bit of a gap there, 17 points or so. Then it's Aster Racing, Black Rose, Lightning, Hasel1, and CP Motorsports rounding out your top 8 teams. So I guess, you know, I don't want to call on your bias too much, and at some point I'll be calling on Andrew Scott's bias, no doubt. But Mad Turtle Racing still in it, only 1 point. That's not championship ending just yet, I don't think.
No, absolutely not. And I feel like we're gelling very well within the team. Obviously, Glenn Mead being the veteran at Mad Turtle Racing, and the team owner, Mitch Gray, really just getting the guys in together to do some practice laps. And we're all really working hard behind the scenes to get this Mercedes up to speed of the GDR and the Toyota Supra and Ando's BMW M6. So we are putting in the hard work to try and get ourselves up there. And I feel like the results are paying off as well. So 1 point behind Hooncorp, behind one of the meta cars in this series. I think we'll take that so far. We're on round 2 of 10, so still a long way to go in this season. Anything can happen here. Drop rounds have to be considered as well, because we will be seeing a lot of drivers from the back of the field and teams that have struggled to score points be able to work their way up towards the front. So we have to be right on the game, right on the ball from now onwards to the end of round 10. But I'm really, really enjoying it, and I feel like, you know, the guys are working so hard, and I feel like everyone is having a great time out on track. Not just our team, but I feel like all the drivers that are competing in this campaign. It is very, very exciting, and the racing has been absolutely incredible. So I feel like season 3 is looking to be one of the best seasons that we have here at MotorMotion.
Yep. Certainly is. And of course, looking ahead, we do have Brands Hatch. The race will be happening on 14th of October. The broadcast will be that Sunday. So keep an eye on the MotorMotion E-Series YouTube channel and the TrackSpot TV YouTube channel for the announcements, and the Facebook page as well. Go over to facebook.com/ I think it is MotorMotion E-Series. Jump on in. Plenty of news and articles being posted on a regular basis, and on the website as well, www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com. Our primary sponsor, of course, Player1 Sim Gear. A huge thank you to them. Australia owned and operated for all your sim racing needs, whether you're sim flying, sim mowing the lawns, sim cleaning, or sim racing. You certainly can go to p1simgear.com.au and get yourself hooked up with the latest and the greatest gear available on the market. TrackSpot TV bringing you the broadcasting today. Check us out on www.trackspot.tv. We're so looking forward to Brands Hatch. I love this track with GT3 racing. You're not looking at the top speeds you would at a place like Le Mans, but you're certainly looking at some very interesting cornering situations, and the MR cars, I think, are pretty excited for this one coming up. So until then, we will check you guys out at a different time. We'll go to essentially the end of the stream now. So massive thanks to everyone who's tuned in today. It's been John Wright and Andrew Scott for Group A, myself, George Cook, and Nick Pautasso for Group B. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. Give us a like and a subscribe. Get involved on the Facebook pages, the Discords. Get involved in our socials. We really do appreciate the engagement. It helps us out a massive amount. And of course, subscribe. It is free, and you can always change your mind at a later date. Until then, stay safe. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you back for round 3 here at the Player1 Sim Gear GT3's Championship. Until then, goodbye.